Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig, and you are listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. All right, we've got a lot to cover today. Oh, my goodness. This story that I'm going to share with you here in the beginning, I was very reluctant to share. But I'm going to share it about Sean Hannity. We have gotten some information from Judge Jeanine, the United States Attorney for the District of Columbia, about Sean Hannity that is completely insane. And, you know, anytime you deal with people that are public people, there are varying degrees of egos, and over my career, I have encountered some of the most enormous egos you can imagine. I mean, just terrible people, just terrible people. And a lot of times with the egos, who has egos can be really surprising sometimes. And a lot of times it's very obvious. There's this one guy, I don't know his name. He does a sports talk show and he interviews celebrities. He's a nationally syndicated guy. He interviews a lot of celebrities, but he's mainly a sports guy, but he interviews actors and movie stars and stuff. And he has his videos all over the internet. And he has a setup where they're in a chair and he's at a desk. It's kind of like a Johnny Carson setup. Do you know who I'm talking about? His desk is higher than the chairs of his guest. So, I mean, he's got some insecurities and some ego problems. And I have worked with people that have egos that are so destructive, I mean, you can't even describe. They're self-destructive, but they can also be a poison person in the workplace. And I never got that. I've dealt with it. I've known a lot of people with it. It's part of life, especially if you do something like this where there's people that have an audience. Luckily, I'm not dealing with that in my personal circle right now, but I have over the years. And people that have out-of-control egos, it's just terrible to deal with. So we've got something on Hannity here from Judge Jeanine. There was a big Fox News lawsuit that is being settled or was just settled. And part of that has made public text messages from some of the Fox News personalities. And we got some text messages from Judge Jeanine. And I'm going to read through the text messages in a moment. And in the text message, Judge Jeanine writes about something that Sean Hannity did that is the most overinflated, insane story of an egomaniac that I've ever heard. In fact, if I did what Sean Hannity did, my wife would have me Baker acted. She'd have me committed. And I'm not exaggerating. What he did, Hannity, according to this text message from Judge Jeanine, and I believe Judge Jeanine, don't you guys believe Judge Jeanine, is crazy town to the nth degree. And when I saw this story this morning, I was thinking about so many of the egos that I've dealt with. And I've dealt with some of the biggest ones. I really have. I'm not going to bore you with the incidents, but just incredibly insane egos that have caused me and others so much trouble over the years. Usually, people that have these out of control egos, they're not just self-destructive. They don't realize it because they're in love with themselves. They work to destroy the lives of people around them. And the times when I've worked with people that have these destructive poison egos, the ones that bug me the most are the ones that everyone thinks is the nice guy on the air. That's the worst. There's some people that they carry it on the air too. But anyway, let me just go through it. If you're on hold, hang in there. I'm not going to spend the whole day talking about this. But here's the headline. This article is in Mediaite, which is liberal, but it's Judge Janine's texts have been made public through court discovery documents. Text messages show Judge Janine Pirro called Hannity an egomaniac. And this involves this. It's also been reported in the Washington Post. Okay. And here we go. Newly released text messages show that U.S. Attorney and former Fox News host Janine Pirro, Judge Janine, complained about Sean Hannity being an egomaniac and bragged about helping President Trump and the Republican Party while she was a Fox News host, according to a court filing. Okay. The filing was first reported Tuesday night by the Washington Post. Okay. And here's the text messages from Judge Janine. Listen to this. This is Judge Janine, and in the first part, sorry about that, guys. In the first part, she's talking about herself, and she's writing to Ronna McDaniel, who at the time was the chairperson of the Republican National Committee. Judge Janine texts, "I worked so hard for the party across the country." Judge Janine texted then Republican National Committee Chair Ronna McDaniel. This was in 2020, by the way, 5 years ago. "I'm the #1 watch show on all news cable all weekend. I worked so hard for the president and party." Well, now she's being paid back for her hard work. She's got a great job. She's going to do some good work. The message was included in a newly unredacted court filing. And here is the part about Hannity. Elsewhere in the text, Judge Janine called Hannity an egomaniac. Now, this is the text message that, in my opinion, shows that Sean Hannity is a crazy person. He's a complete, insane, crazy person. Listen to this. According to another previously unpublished message, again, this is all new stuff. This is a lawsuit that's going on. The court records have been made public. Washington Post reported this last night. It's in Mediaite today, but it's from the court record, so this is factual, and it is an actual text from Judge Janine. Now, this is back in 2020. According to another previously unpublished message included in the filing, Judge Janine referred to Fox News host Sean Hannity as an egomaniac, recalling an Oval Office meeting with President Trump. Judge Janine wrote in an October 27th, 2020 text message to a friend this. Hannity stormed in. This is, again, she's in the Oval Office. She's in the Oval Office with the president, and the person storming into the Oval Office that she's describing is Sean Hannity. Okay? Recalling an Oval Office meeting with Trump, Judge Janine wrote in an October 27th, 2020 text message to a friend that Hannity stormed in like he owns the place, throws his papers on the president's desk, and says, "You don't mind if I use your private bathroom," and walks into the bathroom within the Oval and uses it. Looks at me, Hannity now looks at Judge Janine, looks at me and says, "I gotta talk to him." Then Judge Janine writes, "It's all about him, period. No one else matters." Now, I would love to have a video of this. I just would love to see the look on President Trump's face. So Hannity comes in, throws his papers on the resolute desk of President Donald John Trump in his first term and says, "Can I use your private bathroom?" But he didn't even ask. He says, "You don't mind if I use your private bathroom?" And I don't see anything in the text about Trump responding, and then he goes and uses it. Now, we don't know what he did in there. Is that an ego out of control? Is that a sane person? Is that a normal person? Is that an out of control person? Or is there no problem here and I'm overreacting? When someone's got an ego like that they are really, in a way, bullying President Trump and acting totally out of control. If I pulled something like that, my wife would have my head examined. That is one of the and I'm thinking about all of the egos that I've dealt with in my life, and I've dealt with terrible, poison people out to destroy everyone, including themselves, okay? And I'm sure other people know egomaniacs. I've never heard something like this. This takes the cake by far. The president's bathroom is off limits. Throwing things on the president's desk like this is off limits. And walking in like you own the joint is also off limits. I mean, the way that he behaved, I know, President Trump's nice to him. He's got a large audience and everything else. I get it. But if he's acting that way with President Trump, what is he like the rest of his day? It's pretty monstrous. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Now, I do have a lot of issues I am going to cover today. I'm not going to spend the whole show on this. But I would like to hear your thoughts at 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. If you're on hold, stand by. Our 10th annual MAGA cruise is coming up in March. We have a handful of cabins left at really bargain basement prices. We were able to grab a bunch of cabins that are, without question, 2019 pricing that you're getting for a cruise that sails in March of 2026. I'm not kidding. We have a couple of those cabins left. Our MAGA cruise is amazing. We're going to Antigua. We're going to Nassau in the Bahamas, which I'm really looking. I've never been to Antigua, and I have not been to Nassau since I was a teenager. I'm looking forward to that. We're also going to one of the Virgin Islands. I can't remember which one, and I love the Virgin Islands. And you are all invited. This is our 10th annual MAGA cruise. Join me, Brian Craig, and Steve Kane. Our travel agent, Ian at Cruise and Travel Depot, today is his birthday. There's no better birthday gift than calling him and getting him a booking on our cruise. So give him a call. If you get his voicemail, leave your name and number. He will call you back. This is and those of you that have been on our past cruises, Ian and I have been making some plans. This cruise is going to be we're going to do things in a different way, in a major way, and it's going to be an incredible time. We always have a good time, but we're always trying to take it to the next level on the next cruise. We're always trying to elevate the experience, and we've done it with some things we're planning, including some of the most out-of-the-world exciting shore excursions, but we're doing things on board we've never done before as well. Call Ian at Cruise and Travel Depot and join us on our 10th annual MAGA cruise on the Celebrity Beyond, 561-244-5779, 561-244-5779. Call us on hold, stand by. We'll be right back. Yeah, you're all welcome. Join us on the cruise. You guys will have a great time. You can call him now. If you get the voicemail, leave your name and number. He will call you back. The reason I don't give details about the poison people is because if you do, it's like you wake them out of their slumber, and I don't want to inject them back into my life. But the egomaniacs out there, sometimes it's from the people you would least expect to have these ego problems. What do you guys think? Is Hannity out of control? What do you think he did in the bathroom, the president's personal bathroom? That's for the president. I would use the bathroom outside of the Oval Office. Would you? Not would you, I think the way he did it was like this male dominating thing, threw his papers down on the president's desk and went and used his bathroom. He was trying to establish his dominance. Well, don't you think? Somebody said so entitled. I think that shows insanity. I think Hannity is showing insanity. Insanity Hannity. Someone just texted me. There's many ways of walking into the president's office. That's just not one of them. Someone just texted me. That's for sure. That's not one of them. If you're on hold, hang in there. I'll take some calls when we get back. The Republicans aren't gerrymandering. We are correcting the gerrymandering that's been done by the Democrats. We're doing the opposite of gerrymandering. We're correcting Democrat gerrymandering. Right, big difference, guys. Okay, we'll be back shortly in about a minute. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk. This is a radio station commercial break we're in right now. And I do have a lot of issues to talk about. But this to me is give me a yes or no. Is Hannity's ego out of control, behaving that way? Yes or no on that? Totally out of control. Mm-hmm. Yes. You know what I wonder? Is because he knows about this story. It was in the Washington Post. It's in media. Do you think he's embarrassed by it? I bet you he's not. I bet you thinks it makes him look good. All right, here we go. We're coming back. Insanity Hannity. Yeah. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. All right, let's just take a couple of calls before we move on to the issues. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Corey Quinn calling from California.
Hey, Corey in California. What's on your mind? Yes, Corey, you called me. What's up?
I'm just getting used to the delay.
Well, you got to turn down the volume of whatever device you're listening to me on and just listen to me on the phone. Then there'll be no delay on the phone. Hold on while I'm answering all the lines. All right? Just listen on the phone, Corey. All right?
I hear you.
Okay.
I just saw a call in live, and I'd love to get into the conversation and see where you're going with what you're trying to accomplish today.
Well, what I'm trying to accomplish every day is making America great again. That's what I'm trying to accomplish every day.
And how are you wanting to go about doing that?
Keeping Trump in office for as many terms as possible and electing Trump-endorsed MAGA candidates to every office from dog catcher to president for eternity. You okay? Did you pass out?
No, I was just waiting to hear, without being rage-baited, why you think that is somehow useful and a part of what democracy stands for when it comes to anything that has to do with American history.
Well, I'll give you an example about making America great again, okay, that President Trump has done. 2 days ago, there was a viral video on social media of some illegal migrants climbing the Great Wall of Trump at the southern border, right? That new wall, they were climbing the wall. That video went live 2 days ago and was going viral. I don't know if you saw it. I saw it. Millions of people saw it. That was 2 days ago. Yesterday, the Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, obviously sent to the Great Wall of Trump at the southern border, the border wall by the president. They're painting the border wall black so that it's hotter in the desert sun to make it more difficult to climb, you know, like blacktop, so it'll burn your hands if you try to climb it. That's an example of our government at work under this great president, Donald Trump, to keep our borders secure. That's part of making America great again.
Is this satire? Oh, man, this is a great satire.
What are you talking? No, I'm serious as a heart attack. I am serious as a heart attack.
Okay, so
you want an open border?
You're agreeing that we need to have fascism and no more elections. That's what you're agreeing to.
No, I'm wearing. You're obviously referencing my hat that I got from the official Trump store. I'm wearing a Trump 2028 hat, which they sell at the gift shop at the White House.
No, I'm operating off of your words, sir.
Yeah.
You just told me.
No, I'm not
that
talking.
You want Trump to be elected forever.
Yes,
never
elected.
Again.
Elected. I didn't say appointed for life. I want President Trump to run and win in 2028, 2032, 2036. 2040, as long as he's capable. I want him to run and be elected, not appointed for life. I want the people to decide. What's your beef with Trump?
Which people?
Good American people. What's your beef with? This is, I think it was Bobby Kennedy was talking yesterday. Bobby Kennedy Jr., a great man. And like you, a resident of California. And Bobby Kennedy, he shared something. He said men in their 60s have higher testosterone than men in their 20s today. And I don't know, you in your 20s or 30s? Hello?
Was that a question you
I said, are you in your 20s or 30s? How old are you?
I heard you.
Yeah, how old are you?
I'm 39.
39. Yeah, you're of that millennial generation that has low testosterone. You guys don't understand what it's like to be a man and to be a pro-American person. You've been.
So now you're attacking my character rather than actually.
Well, when I'm talking about I gave an example of something President Trump did this week to protect the southern border. You're in a border state, California. It's been Invasion USA on California for decades.
Very much aware, sir.
And when I'm talking to a guy who's a millennial in a state that's been under current, who doesn't want border security, I'm talking to
are not appropriate, and
I didn't call you a name. What? You're not a millennial?
To have,
you're not.
The way you're going to go.
You're not a millennial. See,
I'm saying that you are labeling me
without
knowing who I am at all.
I know a lot about you. You're a liberal Californian.
Okay.
You're a liberal
I'm from
California. Yeah.
I'm from a very rural county of California where we are very staunchly Republican.
Oh, wait, hold on a second. This is interesting. You're a Republican?
We believe in the Constitution.
So do I.
We believe in the Republic.
Yeah.
United States of America. United.
Yes.
You know what that means?
Yeah.
Do you know what that means, sir?
Yeah. And
what does united mean to you? Because what you are doing is deciding for everyone else in the country what you believe is right. Which is a very small majority.
No, in fact, President Trump.
And if you want to go there, I can quote and cite. I don't
want you to quote and cite. President Trump just last year in November. President Trump won the national election. He won every toss-up battleground state.
And now he is calling our previous president a treasonous person,
correct,
which has no bearing on the Constitution or anything.
Yeah, sure. What does that have to do with the Constitution?
A seditious act needs to be proven in court. So good luck with that.
Okay. So you're a Republican, but you don't support Trump? Is that what you want me to believe? You said you're a Republican?
Yes, sir.
Okay, give me an example.
And I'm one of the very few that is a never-Trumper who believes in the Constitution.
Oh, really? But as hold on a second. As a Republican, excuse me, you must be very happy, as a Republican, because I'm a Republican, you must be very happy that President Trump has given us what some say is the largest individual tax cut in the history of the United States.
So carte blanche, no.
Oh, you're against the tax cut. Okay. What about him?
Yes, I am.
What about him cutting off?
Because it's going to eventually catch up to us. And yes, I mean us.
A Republican
I am
for high taxes?
That eventually, we are going to have a degradation of our country.
Okay. What about this? President Trump? Okay, so you're a Republican for high taxes. President Trump in the big excuse me,
sir.
He just cut taxes.
I'm a Republican for fair taxes.
Fair taxes. Oh yeah, okay.
I am a Republican for fair taxes.
All right, a Republican for fair taxes.
I have very much benefited from the fair taxes that I, as a businessman, have benefited from.
Yeah. Okay. What about the President Trump and the big? Okay. All right. Okay. And the big beautiful bill.
I'm speaking to you as.
Excuse me.
Okay,
slow down.
You don't want to hear me.
I'm up against a break, so I'm short on time. But I'm trying to have a conversation with you. I got a full board of calls.
No, you're not short on time.
I got to take a break.
Losing the debate.
No, I have to take a commercial break. No, I have to take a commercial break.
Illegals are more important than actually talking about real things.
I am talking about real things.
Is going to wreck the economy.
The big beautiful bill. Excuse me. You're on hold. I want to ask you a question. The big beautiful bill cut fund. Excuse me.
The mothers and the grandmothers and the single mothers.
I'm going to turn you down. The big beautiful bill cut funding to Planned Parenthood. As a Republican, you must be very happy that Planned Parenthood funding has been cut. I said President Trump cut all funding to Planned Parenthood. As a Republican, you must be happy about that.
I am not happy about
you're not? All right, appreciate the call. He's a Republican, but he's upset at the tax cuts, and he's upset at Planned Parenthood funding getting cut. Does that sound like a Republican? We'll be right back. Tells me I'm not short on time. I went 2.5 minutes late on the break. No, I have to take commercial breaks. This is a radio station break we're in right now. Now, I want to tell you guys that if you are a Medicare recipient or will be turning 65 soon, call Chapter. Chapter, when you call the number that's on the screen, it's also in the description of the video, 805-754-3033, 805-754-3033. You can call that number no matter which one of the 50 states you are in, because Chapter covers all 50 states. All right, give them a call. You'll get a live person on the phone who will be able to answer all of your questions about Medicare. That's right. You know, the average Chapter client saves over $1,100 a year on their Medicare. Millions of seniors are not getting all the Medicare benefits that you are entitled to. So call them up. It's completely free. It costs you nothing ever. Okay? There's no strings, no catches, no nothing. Just free help from Chapter about your Medicare. They'll answer all your questions. Make sure you get on the right plan. Find out if you're getting all the benefits you're entitled to. You want to get that. You worked hard all your life. It's time. Make sure that you're not paying too much. Find out how much money they can save you. Give them a call, no matter what state you're in. There's over 24,000 Medicare policies. And because Chapter's a national company, they have access to all of them. 805-754-3033. 805-754-3033. Okay. We'll be back in about 90 seconds. I'll go back to the calls. If you're on hold, stand by. I'm trying to take the calls in the order in which they were received. How can you call yourself a Republican, but you are against the tax cuts in the big beautiful bill? What kind of Republican is that? Right? You call yourself a Republican, but you're not. You don't agree with the defunding of Planned Parenthood in the big beautiful bill. I mean, come on. Yeah, guys, join us on our MAGA cruise, 561-244-5779. That's Ian, our travel agent. He's handled all our cruises. This is our 10th one. Going to have a great time. 561-244-5779. If you're already booked, call Ian. You can wish him happy birthday, but ask him about the shore excursions, because we have one. I can't announce it yet. It's just probably the most amazing one we've ever done, and it's limited space. So you want to make sure you're locked in on that. He'll know which shore excursion I'm talking about. Even though I can't announce it, you tell him that much, he'll tell you. There's one opening on the board. Yeah, leave him your name and number if you get his voicemail. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. That last caller claims to be a Republican. He's against the tax cuts and the big, beautiful bill. He's against the defunding of Planned Parenthood and the big, beautiful bill. Those are two major parts of the Republican Party platform that have been there before Trump came down the escalator. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Scott. I'm calling from Kansas City.
Hey, Scott. What's up?
About Sean Hannity.
Yes.
I have a little deal with something a friend of mine, an acquaintance of mine, heard about Sean Hannity that over 25 years I haven't ever had a chance or opportunity to share, but I'll share it now. I had an acquaintance in Washington, D.C. from Missouri. He was there to do some special interest advocacy for Missouri. And there was some kind of big political convention, big deal going on. He was in a restaurant with some high-end person as a guest. Very big, important restaurant. At the next table was Larry King and maybe a man that people don't know, but his name was Jim Bohannon.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about Jim Bohannon, yeah.
Well, this only meant so much to me. When this acquaintance of mine told me about it, I was aware of Sean Hannity. Mostly I watched Tony Snow on Fox News Sunday, and that was about it for me in Fox News. But
that goes way back.
Jim Bohannon said to Larry King, and this is over just a little blurb of something, but it would influence how I would listen to Sean Hannity. Jim Bohannon leaned to Larry and said, the one thing I can't get away from with that Sean Hannity is he will spend a lot of time baiting his question, where Larry just calmly leaned back and said, he baits for shark. Well, since that time, I've listened to Sean Hannity, and he will spend 2 minutes, 3 minutes, baiting his question.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, doesn't anybody say anything to him? Can he ask a straight question?
Well, what you have with, okay, it's a little far away from this crazy incident in the Oval Office where Hannity lost his mind. But the thing,
but his ego.
Yeah, what Hannity does, and I've known other people that do this. In particular, I don't watch him too much with his show, but I do watch when he interviews President Trump, because I always watch the president. He's trying to impress President Trump with his knowledge and everything else. So I imagine he does that with other guests. But what do you think this Judge Jeanine said that he stormed into the Oval Office, threw his papers on the desk, said, "You don't mind if I use your private toilet," and then went and did it without the president giving him permission. Does that sound like a crazy person to you?
Well, the only other thing I could think of is it sounds like somebody who's pretty desperate with his bowels. I got to get in there.
All right. They have other bathrooms outside the Oval Office. No. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Mike from Louisiana.
Oh, hey, Mike.
You know, what Hannity did with his ego in the office. This is the ego with Hannity has been around for a while. Think about this. What was the original? What was the official reason why they gave that Combs left the show? That Alan Combs left that show.
Yeah.
He was burned out and all that stuff. I'm starting to believe now that it was Hannity who pushed him out because Hannity wanted the spotlight to himself.
Yes, I agree with that. Yeah.
You know, so his ego, so that that would fit into what Judge Jeanine just said in that post, you know?
Yeah, let me read, for people that are just tuning in, because I read this in the beginning. Judge Jeanine's involved in a lawsuit, so there's been some discovery, and some of her text messages have been made public through the court filings, and the Washington Post reported them last night. And this is a text message from October 2020 from Judge Jeanine, okay? According to a previously unpublished text message included in the filing, Judge Jeanine referred to Fox News host Sean Hannity as an egomaniac. Recalling an Oval Office meeting with Trump, Judge Jeanine wrote in an October 27th, 2020 text message to a friend, and this is what she wrote, that Hannity stormed in to the Oval Office like he owns the place, throws his papers on the president's desk and says, "You don't mind if I use your private bathroom," and walks into the bathroom within the Oval and uses it. Looks at me and says, "I got to talk to him. It's all about him, period. No one else matters." That's crazy what he did there. Don't you agree, Mike? That's crazy.
It is crazy. It is crazy. And every time he talks about himself or the president and him, it always starts with the word "I."
Yes.
I know the president. I've gotten this interview with the president. It's all about him. You know, it's not about President Trump. It's about Sean Hannity.
Yes. Yeah. No, all right. Appreciate the call, Mike. Take care. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian, good morning, my friend. This is Frank from the Pacific Northwest, Red Country.
All right, Frank. What's up?
I enjoy your behind-the-scenes talk. I'm a 36-year veteran of television and talk radio. Billy telling you that it's a first for me. I've never heard this before in my life, where a caller has told me or you're not short on time. I lost it.
Yeah.
I'm screaming out laughter.
Yeah.
I've never heard that one before.
Yeah,
That's funny.
Yeah, you know, I took the break 2.5 minutes late to talk to that guy. You know? Wasn't that
All
funny?
right.
Oh my goodness.
You didn't
Ed
bring
McMahon.
up nepotism. I saw nepotism the first 2 weeks in 1989 at a CBS affiliate in Vegas. It made me sick to my stomach. It was just the arrogance on this kid. He was the kid of Dad, and Dad got him the job.
Uh-huh.
I worked my way in. I worked for everything that I ever did, never got. I will, if somebody asks me for an autograph, I go, buddy, you're an adult. I'll sign it for kids, but I will not sign an autograph for
Really?
an
You
adult.
don't sign autographs?
No, not for an adult. I mean, they're no different than me. I'm
my
not
goodness.
special.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
Right?
No, I've
Well,
signed
anyway.
autographs. I sign autographs when people ask. I mean, you know.
Well, I'm the nicest guy in the world.
There was
I've let
only.
grandmothers in the
I know it sounds hard to believe that people ask me for an autograph, but they do. There's only one time.
Exactly.
There was one time I refused to sign an autograph. A listener wanted
Why?
me. They wanted me to sign the inside cover of Michael Savage's book, and I said, I'm not going to sign someone else's book. Are you crazy?
No, not at all.
I don't want to be
Not
like
at all.
Hannity and have the ego.
You've got an awesome audience, my friend.
No doubt about that.
An awesome audience.
No
I
doubt.
watch you, man, and I watch your body movements as you sit there and you're stone-faced and quiet while these lunatics are just going off, and you're so calm. It's great. I did the same thing. I thank them. They tell me to put things in places that you can't do, and I just thank them, and I say, hey, if you got something interesting to say, give us a call on the next show.
Okay.
I'll leave you with Combs. The guy made a good point on Hannity and Combs. He was shoved out.
No doubt. You know, Steve Kane was friends with Alan Combs. Alan Combs was a liberal, not like these loons that I'm hearing from on the phones. And he was a very decent guy. And you know, I've told this on the air before. I'll tell it again quickly. I met Sean Hannity right as he was becoming famous at Disney World. This was a little over 20 years ago. My wife and I, we were taking my daughter to Disney World. She was like 3 years old. And, and she's 26 now. So, so it's like 23 years ago. And we were in line for Dumbo, and Hannity was in line for Dumbo carrying his little child who was about 5 years old. And we were in line for like 75 minutes, and I talked to him the whole time, and he was very cool. He talked to me and my wife. Nobody else recognized him because he was on Fox, but Fox hadn't become big as it is now yet. So, so he was not famous enough. He didn't even have to wait. He had to wait in line with the rest of the serfs, and then we rode Dumbo together, and he was very nice. He was very nice. We rode Dumbo together. He was on the Dumbo elephant in front of me with his daughter, and I was behind him with mine, and that was it. And cool. But then the ego got out of control, and he did push Alan Combs out. And this thing in the Oval Office, that's crazy town. I mean, that's just nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, that's arrogance at the highest level. One more thing.
And using the toilet of the president, that was just him trying to establish that he's an alpha male and he's dominant.
Right. Well, for one thing, I think Trump is just like you and me and every other American on the planet, and I judge that by the way Kid Rock acts around him. Those two guys together are just as normal as can be. Last thing I want to say, I have so much respect for Steve Kane. I was brought in by a rock and roll disc jockey who went to talk radio, but he was a rock and roll disc jockey on a West Coast station in the 60s, and he taught me the business.
Yeah.
And I'm so indebted to him. After every one of my television shows, I always thank Billy Goodman for what he did for me. Steve, I see, did the same thing from you. You didn't go up and down the dial. Maybe, you had 3 or 4 different jobs at different stations?
Oh, no, I've worked at so many radio stations. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I didn't get that. I thought you were.
I mean, I've been to a bunch with Steve, but no, I worked at radio stations before I knew Steve. But
right, okay.
In fact, I was working at the number 1, number 2 station in the market. And I left it to take a job for $5 an hour working at the station Steve was program director of.
That's loyalty.
Yeah. Well, no, I knew it was an opportunity.
I worked for Billy Goodman for free for 2 years. I was a paper hanger trying to find my way in life.
For free for 2 years? And, no, I didn't do that. I was always getting paid for pretty much. All right, hey, listen, I got to run, but appreciate the call. I got to run. I got to tell you guys about the doorbell camera offer from Sloman's. This is a great offer. This is for a limited time, guys. I'm telling you, you can get a free doorbell camera that connects to your cell phone with the installation of your Sloman Shield. I'm going to give you the number in a minute, so get something to write with and write this number down. Sloman's is also going to give you a customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. You get an LED touchscreen, a motion detector, 10 contacts, a lifetime warranty, and a backup battery. Plus, you'll get a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield. Here's the number, toll free, 833-283-5050. 833-283-5050. 833-283-5050. We'll be right back. Okay. All right. If you're on hold, stand by. I'm going to move into some other topics before I take some more calls, but you're welcome to call in about anything I brought up so far. Okay, I'm back in a couple of minutes. Where is my laptop? Oh, man, I got such a busy day today. A really busy day. All right. We'll be back in 2 minutes, guys. 2 minutes. And don't forget, if you're 65 years of age or older, call Chapter. They'll answer all your questions for free about your Medicare. They cover all 50 states. 805-754-3033. You know, open enrollment period is going to be here before you know it. Call now so you can jump the line when open enrollment happens too. 805-754-3033. All right, Chapter. The number's in the description of the video as well. Oh, yes, we're going to talk about Trump when we get back. Just over a minute, we'll be back. Like the board up at the radio station, we text when I'm here. If I'm at the radio station, I'm just there. I don't need to know. But when I'm here, if you're watching with the green screen and you see the green behind me, if you go to my other stream, which is going on right now, you can see and hear the audio sound bites I play, the articles I share. This is with the green behind me, where you see the actual green. That's kind of a behind-the-scenes look. Less than a minute, we'll be back. 30 seconds. I started a new allergy medication a couple days ago. It is working so well. It's just starting to kick in. It takes a few days because I'm allergic to cats. And we have, how many in the house? 5. We have 5 cats in the house because of my daughter's cats, and I'm allergic. Welcome back, everyone. If you're on hold, stand by. My name is Brian. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. I'm going to move on to some other things, but you're certainly, and I will recap that Hannity story later. It's crazy. But I want to move on to some other things. And President Trump, he's going after the Smithsonian for very good reason. Here's the headline. CNN, Trump escalates attacks against Smithsonian museums, says there's too much focus on how bad slavery was. Yeah, he is very right about that. Let me read this article in left-wing, Trump-hating CNN. President Donald Trump escalated his campaign to purge cultural institutions of materials that conflict with his political directives on Tuesday, alleging museums were too focused on highlighting negative aspects of American history, including how bad slavery was. In a True Social post, Trump directed his attorneys to conduct a review of museums, comparing the effort to his crackdown on universities. This is what he wrote on True Social. This President Trump wrote this. The Smithsonian is out of control. He wrote out of control in all caps. The Smithsonian, which means he's yelling, the Smithsonian is out of control, where everything discussed is how horrible our country is, how bad slavery was, and how unaccomplished the downtrodden have been. Nothing about success, nothing about brightness, nothing about the future, Trump wrote. He is so right on the money. Slavery, we all agree, was bad. However, the sacrifices that were made by Americans, in particular white Americans, to end slavery is never discussed in these museums and in the history books that are written by liberal college professors that are in the public schools. Not only did 1 million Americans die in the Civil War, round about 1 million, most all of them white, in the decades before the Civil War, there was nonstop conflict. Look up John Brown, look up Bloody Kansas. There was nonstop conflict that resulted in death in an effort by whites to end slavery. After the Republicans ended slavery, the Democrats had a 100-year reign of terror with a terrorist organization that was a Democrat terrorist organization known as the Ku Klux Klan that terrorized blacks. You know, when the civil rights legislation was passed in the 1960s under President Johnson, many Democrats opposed it. The civil rights legislation in the 1960s was signed into law by Johnson, but it only passed because the Republicans supported it. The Democrats, that's when they had the breakup with the Dixiecrats and all that. the Democrats were opposed to that. But the civil rights legislation from 64 and on was all passed by white people. That's true. White people led the fight to end slavery in this country, and white people in government. In fact, the Constitution was amended outlawing slavery with a 100% white vote in government, in the Congress. The civil rights legislation was passed by white people on both sides. And now the reason that is because blacks were not empowered to do such things at that time. I don't even know if there were any blacks in Congress in 1964. Were there? I don't know. But it passed because of whites. And you're not past it. Now, I don't want to take away from the sacrifices of great Americans like Martin Luther King, Medgar Evers, and the great Rosa Parks, and many others who worked hard. Many of them sacrificed their lives for civil rights. I don't want to take anything away. But whites, we didn't start slavery in America. We ended it. The Europeans brought it here. We ended it. And it wasn't just something that ended on a dime. It ended with a lot of death and destruction that went on for over 100 years before we finally ended it. But all that legislation, and we're taught that whites are evil and all own slaves. I had family, a great, great, great uncle who fought in the Civil War for the Union Army out of Ohio. No Confederates in my family. 80%, over 80% actually, over 80% of Americans are descendants of immigrants that came to the United States after the Civil War, so they had no part in slavery. The great waves of immigration were after the Civil War, and President Trump is right. What you get from this left-wing history at the Smithsonian's, at our universities, and our public schools is a negative view of America, and that needs to be changed. Now, President Trump did something amazing yesterday at the White House. He installed an outdoor speaker system outside the White House, and he was blasting music. Did you see this yesterday? It was beautiful. There were two songs in particular that he played. One was the great hit by Lee Greenwood, I'm Proud to Be an American. But then he was blasting music by the late, great king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley. Now, why was he playing? We know why he was playing Lee Greenwood. When Lee Greenwood comes on at a Trump rally, Trump's there and getting ready to come out. But why did he play Elvis Presley? He could have played anyone. President Trump likes show tunes, but why Elvis? It's because President Trump knows everything that's going on. And a couple of days ago, let me pull this up. Joy Reid was online on a podcast, and Joy Reid attacked the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley. Listen, this is Joy Reid a couple days ago.
They can't fix the history they did. Their ancestors made this country into a slave hell.
See, Joy Reid, her view of America, that's your average historian in this country. Left-wing, racist, hates the country, hates white people. But listen to what she says towards the end.
They can't fix the history they did. Their ancestors made this country into a slave hell. But they can clean it up now because they got the Smithsonian. They can get rid of all the slavery stuff. They got PragerU. They can lie about the history to the children. They can't originally invent anything more than they ever were able to invent good music. We black folk gave y'all country music, hip hop, R&B, jazz, rock and roll. They couldn't even invent that, but they have to call a white man the king.
Okay, see, the white man the king. She's attacking the great Elvis Presley. White people can't invent anything, really. White people invented democracy in this country and also freed the slaves and passed the civil rights legislation. Maybe blacks are responsible for rock and roll, but we're responsible for blacks being free in this country. But President Trump, it just shows you, President Trump knows it amazes me. Minor stories like this, President Trump knows everything that's going on. She attacked the great Elvis Presley. So he's blasting Elvis Presley outside the White House yesterday. It's hilarious. All right, let's take a call or two before the top. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Jerome from California. How you doing, Brian?
All right, Jerome.
So you're here crying about Joy Reid today. Is that right?
No, I'm not crying.
It sounds like it. It sounds like you're race baiting right now.
Well, that's because you're a liberal who hears what you want to hear.
Well, that's what you're doing.
No.
But that's what you're doing.
No, it's not.
That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing with Joy Reid right now. So are you going to just admit that you guys support slavery or no?
Slavery? President Trump,
Yeah.
President
I know
Trump,
you're a supporter of slavery.
President
You support
Trump,
Donald
with the deportations and shutting down the border, ended the modern day slave passage, where more slaves are being transported than during the height of the slave
That's
passage
a lie,
from Africa.
Brian. So Brian, let me ask you: are you a history expert?
I do have a degree in history.
Are you a history expert, Brian?
I don't call myself that, but I have a college degree in history.
You have a college degree.
Yes.
Okay. So would you say what is your degree in?
I have a double major. I studied to become a history and social studies high school teacher.
Really? Okay. So then why are you suddenly siding with an incompetent man that does not know anything about history, who doesn't know anything?
I have no idea who you're referencing. I have no idea who or what. I have no idea who or what you're referencing.
You're dumbass president.
Can you not use the profanity, Jerome? Do you mind?
Sure, no problem.
I only have about 30 seconds left. Give me a specific, real quick.
Yeah, I know, because you're a coward.
I got to take a commercial break at the top of the hour.
Yeah, I know. That's what you do, cowardly as usual.
No, we have a scheduled commercial break at the radio station. The radio
after
station.
the commercial break, we can continue this then, huh?
No, I don't hold callers over the break very often.
Yeah, because you're a coward, Brian.
Why am I taking?
You're a coward.
No, I'm taking
you're
calls.
Defending a pedophile.
All right, there he goes. All right. I mean, what a psycho. He'll probably call back. It's one call per day. The guy's unhinged. See what I got to deal with? All right, 1 hour down, 2 to go. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. I'm Brian. Back after this. We'll be back in about 90 seconds, guys. If you're on hold, hang in there. I'm going to bring up some other topics, but you're welcome to call in about anything I've brought up so far. Oh, my goodness. Just hearing from unhinged liberals. I mean, they're just... Liberals have always been crazy callers, but lately they've just... The Trump derangement syndrome is just really bad. Less than a minute, we'll be back. Yeah, I'm stopping wearing headphones except when I'm playing sound bites, when I don't have to. Because, you know, I've lost some hearing wearing headphones for decades, and I don't want to lose any more hearing. So I'm only wearing headphones when I absolutely have to. So... I don't want to lose any more hearing. I know, it's crazy. I've spent more time in headphones than without them probably over the years. All right. All right, hour number 2 has begun. My name is Brian Craig. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio this year. All right, one of the things I like everything about President Trump. I mean, that's he's just the greatest. We're just so proud to have him, and I was just thinking the other day about when they shot him in Butler. I have a picture, that picture of when Trump got up, his face covered in blood, put his fist in the air and said, "Fight, fight, fight." My wife took that picture and had it framed. And in the living room of my house, just as you're walking out of the front door, it's right there next to the front door of the house in a beautiful frame. And I look at that picture all the time. And I think about what he did and what he suffered from and suffered through for us. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. And one of the things that I really like about President Trump is that he is a true Christian man. And in the first campaign, he said something about, remember when he said 2 Corinthians? I can't remember the context. I don't remember, was he president yet or was it during the campaign? I can't remember. It was either during the first campaign or the first term. He said 2 Corinthians, and of course the liberals who were godless started, it's 2 Corinthians, not 2. And I've heard my own priest in Mass say 2 Corinthians, okay? But, anything, the haters, they grab onto something, they hate everything, right, when they're consumed with hate. But what he is a Christian, and I just, gosh darn it, I had it on the tip of my tongue, and I just forgot the name. In the first campaign, somebody tell me what this was, that he was recommending a book for business, an old book in the first campaign. Son of a gun. And I went to buy it on Amazon. It was sold out. It's an old book, but I went to the library and I was able to check it out. It was a book about being a businessman. It was written like in the 60s. What is the name of the book? And he was talking about this all the time at the rallies. When I get the name of this book, I'm going to buy the book. It's probably easier to get now because it was sold out back then. What's the name of that book? Do you know what the name of the book is? Somebody tell me, but I'll tell you about the book. I got the book at the local public library and I checked it out. And I was reading the book. And I was very pleasantly shocked and surprised. It's not just a book from a few decades ago about being a businessman. It was a book for Christian businessmen. And I was really blown away by it. It had to be in the 60s, this book. It may have been the 50s, but it was in that Mad Men era. And it was written for Christian businessmen. What is the name of the book? He was recommending it all the time in the first campaign. And that's when I knew that he was a true Christian who doesn't wear their Christianity on their sleeve. He keeps it in private, like I do. I'm a very, very strong believing Christian. I pray every day, all the time. I am a very blessed person. My family is blessed, and I see my prayers answered in real time, all the time. And but I don't talk about it a lot because I don't like to brag about it like a lot of people do. And George W. Bush, when he became, I didn't know what a creep and war criminal George W. Bush was. And when my wife and I are Catholic, we converted to Catholicism, 10 or 15 years ago-ish, somewhere around there, about 15 years ago. But when George W. Bush became president, George W. Bush is a Methodist. And remember, there was a Republican debate in the Republican primary when Bush was still Governor Bush, and he was running, and it was in Iowa. And I can't remember who asked this, but it was one of the big newscasters at the time, asked all the Republican nominees who were running in the Republican primary in this Iowa caucus who their favorite political philosopher was. And they had different answers. And then Governor Bush, G.W. Bush, said Jesus. I was like, wow, that's cool. And the media, of course, had a freak out over that. Jesus wasn't political. He's not all this stuff. But I was like, wow, he's a real Christian. I really support President Bush. And he was a member of the Methodist Church. And there was a Methodist church down the street from my house, at where I lived at the time with my wife. And we joined the Methodist church, and I was very active. I did the sound, like we have board ops at radio stations. I was the board op during the church services every week, and during other events, weddings, and even funerals and things. I'd run the sound at the church, and I was very active. I loved that church. And when the war in Iraq began, the Methodist church condemned the military action in Iraq, and the pastor of the church had a special meeting of everybody at the church saying, we're behind this, and we're behind. It was very strange that they were coming out in favor of death and destruction in a war. But then I realized that George W. Bush is a liar. He's a fake Christian. He's a war criminal. And he knowingly lied and has destroyed the lives of millions of people with his lies of WMDs, because people in that region, how many have died in the Middle East over his war crimes of lies of weapons of mass destruction? And I'm here to tell you that he is not a good example of a Christian president. However, President Trump is. And I do believe him to be a very strong Christian believing man. And every once in a while you get something that lets you know. And he was on Fox earlier this week, and that's why I brought this up. This is President Trump on the phone with Fox earlier this week. Listen.
Just want to end it. I want to end it. We're not losing American lives. We're not losing American soldiers. We're losing Russian and Ukrainian, mostly soldiers. Some people, as missiles hit wrong spots or get lobbed into cities like Kiev and towns. But, if I can save 7,000 people a week from being killed, I think that's I want to try and get to heaven if possible. I'm hearing I'm not doing well. I hear I'm really at the bottom of the totem pole. But if I can get to heaven, this will be one of the reasons. Well, I think I saved a lot of lives with India, Pakistan. They were going at it. The planes were being shot down. That was going to be maybe a nuclear war if I let that go. And I did that through trade. I was
saying he's actively making decisions with the what would Jesus do, right? And actively making decisions as a Christian man, as a Christian president. And I think that's amazing. And that didn't really get a lot of publicity in the news, did it? It happened. It's been out there. People know about it. It wasn't suppressed. But there wasn't too much talk about it because they don't want you to know that he's a good Christian man who's a true believer of Jesus, in Jesus. All right, let's go to the phones. If anybody knows the name of that book he was recommending for Christian businessmen in the first term, let me know, because I want to buy that on Amazon. It was completely sold out back then. I want to get a copy. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, Craig from Winter Garden. How you doing?
Hey, Craig, what's up?
What I think Hannity was doing, he come in there, like you said, he slammed the papers down on the desk and said, hey, you don't mind if I use your bathroom? And then I think you said he turned to Judge Janine and said, I need to talk to him. What he was doing all that, going into the bathroom, and that was basically saying, okay, anybody out here around President Trump, get out of here. When I come out, I want full attention. I want him with me one-on-one. Nobody else in here.
He was coming. Well, for people that are, don't lose your thought, Winter Garden. For people that are just tuning in, I want to read the text message. Judge Janine's involved in some court conflict. And because of that, some of her text messages were part of discovery, have been made public. They were in the Washington Post yesterday. And this is a text message from October 27th, 2020. Judge Janine texted a friend about an experience she had in the Oval Office in the first term with President Trump and Sean Hannity. She described Sean Hannity as an egomaniac, and this is what she texted to a friend. Judge Janine texted, Hannity stormed into the Oval Office like he owns the place, throws his papers on the president's desk, and says to the president, you don't mind if I use your private bathroom, and then walks into the bathroom within the Oval and uses it. Hannity looks at me and says, I got to talk to him. It's all about him, period. No one else matters. That's the text. That sounds unhinged and crazy to me. And I think he was telling everybody to get out of the Oval Office. He wanted a private one-on-one.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, why else would he do that? Because he probably came in and there was other, sure, there's people around talk to the president, and he can't have that. He goes, he wants the first full attention. So that's basically why he went in there. Look, I need to talk to him, throws his papers down on the desk, and, I got to go to the bathroom. And then when he comes out, So he's all President Trump's, you know. I want him one-on-one.
Does that and I believe Judge Jeanine. I think that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
You know, do you think that sounds like an ego out of control and a crazy man?
Brian, look at the interviews the guy's done with President Trump. President Trump could be talking about a meeting with Putin or something. And then Hannity will cut in and say, well, what about me? What about my meeting with you? Or what about this? He does it all the time. I listen to President Trump on every interview except for when Hannity has it. He drives me crazy the way he interjects himself into every conversation.
Enough about you. What about me? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's what I think. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I, you know, I've talked about in this business, I've encountered egos that are so out of control that it's terrible. The things I've seen people and put up with. I've never seen anything that crazy.
No, absolutely. Like, guys, like I say, when they were first on, when him and Combs were on together, I couldn't stand Combs, you know, liberal, Hannity. Now, as I look back, I'd rather listen to Combs now than I would to him, I think.
Well, the way they did it on Hannity and Combs, it was kind of like Crossfire on CNN. Hannity would interview the liberal guest, and Alan Combs would interview the conservative guest. That was the format.
Well, and Alan was a good guy. You know, I mean, he was a liberal, I know, but he had a way of he seemed tolerable. You know, he just seemed like a nice guy, you know. But Hannity, man, I don't know. But, you know, the things he says, I agree with his views 100%, but just how he says it and always goes back to him. So, anyway,
all right. Appreciate the call. Winter Garden, good points. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Kent from California.
Yeah, what's up?
How you doing today, Brian? I'm surprised you're taking my call after hanging up on me last week over Adam Schiff.
I don't remember the call.
You seemed real sensitive about that.
I don't remember.
You were real sensitive about it.
I don't remember the call.
I know you don't remember a lot of things. It's okay.
No, you're just
but
not
I just want to let you know,
worth remembering.
So do you think? Why do you think President Trump is suddenly like a historian?
He's not suddenly a historian. He
no,
is.
You're acting like it.
Excuse me. No, he is right in that if you know, listen, American history textbooks and museums, okay, history is written.
Have been fine for
excuse
years.
me. Oh no, history for the most part, in America at least,
has been fine for years.
Is written by liberal history professors. And it's written
I thought it was written by the victors, Brian. Are you lying now, saying it's written by liberal history professors?
Liberal history professors write the history books for the most part.
Oh, are they the victors? Are they the victors, Brian? Say it.
The victor? I don't know what that means. I mean, I know what you're trying to. I know what you're trying to say.
Victors write history. The victors write history.
That's a phrase that people use. No,
learn the saying.
No, liberal college professors write most of the history. They have to publish to be tenured and all that. And they write it from
of course.
So our history
that is part of peer review.
So most of our history
that is part of peer review, correct?
Most of our history is written from a negative perspective about our great country. And the president's right about that.
It's written from an honest perspective, Brian. You can lie about it, but it's written from an honest perspective.
The whole country is not about slavery. The United States didn't start slavery in the New World. We ended it.
Though, that you can't undermine.
That we didn't start. We ended it.
We sure used it to build our infrastructure and build our country, though, did not we?
No.
Did we not?
Nope.
No, we didn't. Are you lying now, Brian?
No.
So you went from being a history like you told the other guy, right? You said you have a bachelor's, but now you're lying about history in general.
No.
Saying that we did not use slavery to bring up our
slavery
country or Jim Crow.
Cotton
did not use either of those to uplift.
Cotton did not build this country. Cotton did not build this country. The great wagon trains, Lewis and Clark, people like that did.
History does. That's the thing, Brian. History does not care about your opinion. History does not care about what you think or what you feel.
People like you write the.
Factual.
You are what I'm talking about. You on the left write
Brian,
the history.
Brian, you can't even go into a peer-reviewed study because you'd flip out because everyone would be against you.
Yeah,
because all of the
they're liberal
facts would not
jerks.
align with you. Because you don't care about facts, Brian. You don't. You care about bias.
Well, here's a fact. It's time for a break, but I appreciate the call.
You're a faggot.
Okay, there you go. Boom. I mean, what am I supposed to do? Oh, my goodness. That's the type of attitude that writes the history books. Let me talk about Dr. Appleton. in his laser away pain treatment as we await. I don't know. Do you have to dump that, Mike? I don't know. If you're in pain, why? You know why you're in pain? Because you haven't gone to see Dr. Philip Appleton and taken advantage of his laser away pain treatment. The first time he rid me of pain was 3 years ago in my right knee that I'd suffered from for over 30 years of pain with. He rid me of pain. Here we are 3 years later. The pain has not returned. In fact, in all of the 7 instances that Dr. Appleton has rid me of pain with the laser away pain treatment, the pain has never returned because the laser treatment repairs the damage in your body that's causing the pain. The pain is a signal that something's broken, and the laser treatment repairs that damage. There's no drugs, no shots, no surgery, no downtime. Not only is the laser treatment 100% painless, you don't even feel it when it's happening, and Dr. Appleton himself performs all the laser treatments. Also, appointments are not necessary. Walk-ins are welcome, even on Saturdays. Give Dr. Appleton a call right now and say bye-bye to your pain. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. That's 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonChiro.com. We'll be right back. We'll be back in less than 2 minutes, guys. Welcome, everyone. Yeah, I'm supposed to wear headphones, but I have to wear them at the radio station, and I have to wear them when I play audio sound bites, but I don't have to wear them for calls here at this studio. So, and I remember when Steve took me out to dinner with Bob Grant years ago, but he was so deaf. I was sitting next to him, like his ear was and I had to yell like this into his ear for him to hear me, you know? And then over the years, I've lost some hearing, but I always keep the headphones as low as I can. But I'm going headphoneless for as much as I can moving forward. I don't want to lose my hearing. I don't want to have to get an implant like Rush. Less than a minute. And we'll be back. If you're on hold, hang in there. I'm going to play this audio of Karen Bass when we get back. This is great. And then I'll take some calls. All right, 30 seconds. Although these headphones are so comfortable. This is velvet, As soon as I put them on, I just felt like the stress leave my body. They're like the MyPillow of headphones. All right, we're back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. If you're on hold, stand by. Karen Bass, the mayor of L.A., she had a press conference yesterday, and she was wearing blue jeans for some reason. And she got a question from someone that, well, is not a Karen Bass fan. And the guy was pretty good. Let me share this with you. This was yesterday. Karen Bass, mayor of Los Angeles, with... So I don't know who this person is, but they asked a great question during the press conference, and she didn't like it.
Mayor Bass, on the topic of immigration, over the weekend, the president's deputy chief of staff, Stephen Miller, accused both Governor Gavin Newsom and yourself of, quote, crimes against humanity for your immigration policies, going as far to say, quote, they are guilty of crimes against humanity for their facilitating of child trafficking, blank trafficking. They think this is a game. They think this is a joke. This is life and death. I just wanted to get your response to that serious
crime
remark.
Against humanity is something that is a definition that there is nothing, anything in this city that has happened that comes even close to a crime, period, let alone a crime against humanity. And that's all that's worth.
Okay, so now she's so wrong, and I don't even know if she's enlightened enough to know how wrong she is. What President Trump's talking about is human trafficking and sex trafficking. Human trafficking, sex trafficking is it's slavery. It's a different kind of slavery than Joy Reid's always reflecting on, but it's still slavery, indentured servitude. Sometimes it's sexual slavery, sometimes it's labor slavery, but it's human trafficking is the 21st century slave trade. And they have a slave trade that's been going on for decades at the southern border in California and Los Angeles. They've become dependent on their slaves from South America. That is a fact. And when Trump is talking about them, Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom being responsible for crimes against humanity, that's what he's referencing. The modern day slave trade that they're crying every day is no longer in effect. All right, let's go back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Dean from MAGA, Martin County.
Hey, Dave, what's up?
Hey, man, I've been listening to all these low-key millennial males calling you.
Yeah.
It's just a riot. I mean, these guys are softer than melted butter.
Mm-hmm.
And their history is so far off. The slave traders from Africa, which were what color? Black, sold slaves and are still doing that today.
Yeah.
And another thing, these guys think that the slaves built America. No, the American Revolution came after we abolished slavery, and slaves were used as mostly labor in the fields. There wasn't a lot of engineering, inventions and stuff by slaves, for cars and bridges and things like that. That wasn't slavery that built America.
No, I mean, it's a terrible thing that the Democrats, fought to maintain.
Yeah, exactly.
But the thing about it is, like there's a great book series it's one of my favorite. My wife just bought the series. It's a great book. We read it to my daughter when she was a little girl, and they're kids' books, but they're so good. The book, the Little House on the Prairie books from Laura Ingalls Wilder, that's what built America, right? Frontiersmen, settlers, farmers, immigrants. Slavery was a part of it, but nowhere near as big of a part as they want you to believe. And there's this alt history. I'll give you an example. There's this alt Afrocentric racist history that tells you that Thomas Edison didn't invent the incandescent light bulb, that his janitor, while he was sweeping, found something on the floor that he was sweeping up that was the filament that made the light bulb work.
Oh, my goodness.
You think I'm kidding? I didn't make that up. I did not make that up. I'm telling you, that's the kind of crap they teach people.
These guys are so warped. I mean, it's like
it's racism.
I mean, what would they be doing if Trump? I mean, honestly, it's just Trump is actually. I've been looking at all the things he's went through. Trump is 10x or 1,000x better than Reagan. There's no way Reagan would have went through the assaults, the jail time, the criminal BS lawfare. He would have never made it through that stuff.
No.
Trump's a strong man.
That's
and
right.
Reagan would have never survived that
He's
attack.
a superhero.
So,
he's not a mortal man, Donald Trump.
We can look back, and he's in the top 5 or even higher. Thank God we have the guys that wrote the Constitution. But Trump's right up there with those guys as far as the true American patriot that's going to keep this country alive.
That's right. That's right. All right. Appreciate the call from Martin County. Good points. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Conservative Doug.
Oh, hey, Doug.
I got to tell you, Brian, I don't know how you do it. Every day you got to put up with these liberals that call in, and you stay calm. Man, I would be on some tranquilizer if I had to deal with them every day. But you do a great job. You got a special talent. Anyway, when Joyless Reed says that we have to call Elvis the king, he's only was the king because he made rock and roll what it is today,
mainstream,
basically by selling millions and millions of records. So of course he's the king.
Elvis Presley, who died due to his his drug addictions, but and his food addictions and everything else. But it's unfortunate that he never had the opportunity to write his story. I'd like to know what he did. There's very few people that have originated something, but they take something and make it big. And whatever led to him doing the swinging of the hips is what made rock and roll mainstream. And what he did was absolutely amazing in the music industry. Just like Charlie Chaplin didn't invent comedy or movies, but he made them more popular than they ever were before because he did things in a new way with the tramp and all that stuff. There's very few people that have invented something. Like even the people that she credits with inventing rock and roll, they didn't invent music, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's for sure. Yeah, but
what is Les Paul's role in the history of rock and roll? What is his significance? Does Les Paul get the credit that he deserves? What would rock and roll be today if it were not for Les Paul, as an example?
That's for sure. The number one guitar in the world for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something. I came like 5 minutes too late. I would have met Elvis Presley at RCA Records. And it was I would have loved to be able to meet him, man. That would have been cool.
My mother saw him in concert once.
I saw him in concert.
In the jumpsuit phase. Because I remember she told me that she had binoculars, right? And she could see the light, and he was wearing like spandex under the jumpsuit, she said. She could see, like he had pants on under the white jumpsuit. Yeah.
I don't know. I saw him at Madison Square Garden. It was unbelievable how he came out. And I've been in a million concerts. I've never seen anybody come out.
When it comes to music, okay, like you look at Michael Jackson, the king of pop, right? He didn't invent pop music, but his Thriller album took pop music to a level that had never been achieved before. So I mean, and for her to say, we can't call him the king of pop. Michael Jackson did not invent pop music. I don't know who did, but it wasn't Michael Jackson.
She must wake up every day and hate the world, and she is just
Joy Reid is just a hardcore, vile racist, and she just is out of control.
Without a doubt. I mean, I don't know how she's still on anybody to listen to her. I was so glad when they took her off the air, but now she still always manages to get back because people like to hear this woman say her nastiness. But
well, she went to Harvard. She's got a Harvard or Yale degree. She went to one of either Harvard or Yale. Okay, she's pretty close to a household name in America. She's one of the most famous women in America. Right?
Yeah,
and even she got away from MSNBC just in time because they're going away. And she has an opportunity that I don't have because the president of the United States responded to her yesterday. I was talking about this. 2 days ago, she attacks Elvis Presley. Yeah. Yesterday, President Trump's blasting Elvis music outside at the White House in response to her. She has influence. And all she does is sit around and cry like a victim as opposed to taking her fame and her influence and making herself more famous and popular and everything else, she chooses to sit around and think she's victimized. I'm as white gets, okay? And she's black. I'm the oppressor. She's the oppressed. She got the president of the United States to choose a song yesterday to blast outside the White House. That seems she seems to have a lot of power to me. I don't think I could get President Trump to play any music that of my choosing like she did.
Yeah, I got a kick out of that because President Trump is so aware of everything going on.
He is.
And
that whole outdoor, they redid the Rose Garden, right? And he had installed a sound system for music. And I'd not heard it played before. He played a little bit of Lee Greenwood, but then he was blasting Elvis Presley. That whole event yesterday with music was a response to Joy Reid. And so she was able to get the president of the United States to do something yesterday, but she's the victim? Come on.
She's really, but she made a living at it, so maybe what she's doing is good for her, but it can't be something that she wakes up every morning and go, oh, I'm so happy that I'm such a wonderful person. No,
she hates white people. Person. She hates white people.
Yeah, she hates.
And this critical race theory is a racist philosophy that they put in the guise of history or sociology to justify their racism. She's a terrible, poison person. She's not mentally ill like Candace Owens, but she's consumed with hatred of white people. Hey, I got to run. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. I'm Brian. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. I have taken a couple of breaks late in this hour. I went long for these liberal callers. So this will be a short segment so I can get us back on track. My apologies in advance. All right, let's take a call or two, and I do have a lot of stories to cover. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Speak up. You're off the phone a little bit, Renee.
Renee from Harlem.
Hey, Renee.
The thing to know is that Elvis Presley he wasn't the king. You know, you try to make a comparison between being a king and being the inventor. That's not equitable. That has nothing to do with it. Just because you're popular doesn't mean you invented it. Elvis became king, quote unquote, because white people accepted him as a leader, and they would never accept Sam Cooke or who else? There was Harry Belafonte. You know, it had to be somebody.
Are you kidding?
white.
Harry Belafonte was like in every movie in Sidney Poitier that had a black man in it. It was either Sidney Poitier or Harry Belafonte. Yeah, listen, come on, Renee. We can have a real discussion. You're a musician, right? Hold on. No, Renee, I want to talk to you. No, Renee, hold on. I want to have a real talk to you. You're a musician, right?
So
okay. And so I imagine you consider yourself to be a pretty talented musician. And you know as well, both of us are in different forms of entertainment. You know, I do news and talk and everything, but what I do is also part of show business in a different way, and you're part of show business. And you are well aware that whatever sphere of entertainment, whether it's music, what I do, acting, that the best are never the famous ones, right? There's always we're talking a lot lately about Sydney Sweeney. Sydney Sweeney, who I learned something interesting about yesterday about her. She's not a very good actress, and she's not the most beautiful actress either, but she's a personality. She's got huge boobs, and she's turned that into box office success. There's been other actors like Brad Pitt is not the most talented actor. He plays Brad Pitt and everything, but he was the greatest actors that ever lived we've never heard of before, right? And actresses. Same goes for musicians. You know, some of the most talented musicians I've ever heard have either been in a nightclub on a cruise ship or in a bar in the middle of the night. They don't have record deals and they're not famous. Okay?
Okay.
And you know as well as I do, like in your as whatever kind of music you're into, there are a lot of people that are very famous and successful that aren't half the talent you are. Like me. I am very good at what I do. I know through many years of training and everything and experience, I'm one of the best that does a show like this. But I didn't get to replace Bongino or Rush.
There was a writer called Greg Tate who founded a coalition called the Black Rock Coalition. And what it was really based on was the fact that the people that made the culture were not being paid and recognized. And he put it out as being a very important gesture to make it known that black people are really responsible for a lot of the instances and things that have been taken for granted in this country, not because they weren't good enough, it's because this country is racist. People like you made it the way it is.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, okay? There are people that do what I do, okay? Exact same thing I do, that are black, that are much more well-known, famous, and have a larger platform than I do. If the country is the country that you enjoy, read, believe that it is, why are there black people that I think in many instances have little or no talent, like the Hodge twins, as an example? Why are there people that are black that do what I do, that have zero or no talent, but are richer and more famous than I am? if this country is so racially biased towards whites?
Maybe because you really don't know what talent really is.
Come on. You've been listening to me every day for years, and I'm I'm just trying to use. There's another guy right here in my own town, who's. Hold on a second. There are people, like there's a guy in my own town who's very good. His name's Barry Cunningham. He's a nationally known guy who does what I do, but he's pretty well known, and he's wealthy. He's black conservative.
Right?
Why is he richer than I am?
He's right wing, right?
Yeah, he's conservative.
Right. Okay. Well, because this is a racist country, man.
But I'm telling you, I just gave you two black people. Hold on a second. The Hodge twins and Barry Cunningham. Excuse me. No. Hold on. I'm gonna give you. There's three black people I'm naming. The Hodge twins, Barry Cunningham, and Officer Tatum are all black conservatives, and they're more. I know this is hard to believe, and they're more famous than I am, and richer than I am. If it's a racist country, why am I not the famous one? Huh?
Man, you don't listen. They're saying what this country wants to hear. If you start spouting that racist claptrap, they like that.
No.
And that's
what I'm telling you is, when it comes to who gets famous and successful, there's a lot of factors. Race isn't one of them. If this was the racist country that you want to believe it is, I'd be one of the most famous people in America.
Well, you know what the difference is? People will recognize you right off the bat, especially when you wear that stupid hat. They'll know you're a racist.
But Renee, you said that this is a racist country against blacks, and it's a white supremacist country. So why have the white supremacists not elevated me to the fame that Officer Tatum has?
Because, that's not my fault. I didn't do it. You got to ask them. Why aren't they elevating you? You're trying to be as racist as you can. I don't know.
No. See, life's not fair, and things are not equal, and there's all kinds of things that factor in.
Hey, you got to complain to your boy.
Here's the thing. With hold on. You're not going to want to hear this, Renee, but I want to share this with you, Renee. Okay. If I were black, I would be one of the top 5 most famous conservative people in America, because I am top tier of what I do. And if you're black, you get elevated. Turn on television. You don't see white people in a commercial anymore, hardly. That's why they're so upset at Sydney Sweeney.
You like Jesse Lee? You like Jesse Lee?
Oh, yeah, he's awesome.
You like Jesse Lee Peterson?
Yeah, he's a friend of mine, and Steve. Steve and I are friends with Jesse Lee Peterson. Yeah, we know him. He's a good guy.
I just talked to him the other day.
Like you talked to me. You called his show. You call his show, right?
You know he's gay, right?
I've heard that. I don't know if it's true.
Heard?
So what? If he is, I don't know. So what?
Wow. I guess you have a lot in common.
Well, you don't like gays? All right, take care. Appreciate the call. There's all kinds of things that the reality is, it's not the country he wants it to believe. If you are it's like with my daughter. I've always told my daughter, on every form you fill out, put black. Make sure you put black, not biracial, not other, black. If you are black, it's easier for you in this country today. I know it's not politically correct to say. If you are black, it's easier for you in this country today. Why do you think they're so upset at Sydney Sweeney? How dare a white actress get a lead in a TV commercial? How dare she? Look at movies and television shows today out of Hollywood. There's hardly a white person in them. That's just it's the country we're in now. I want to tell you guys about Jupiter Joe Thomas. Listen, all the stock market ups and downs, I don't pay attention to that stuff. I don't pay attention to that. I know a lot of people, they have a very stressful life. With annuities, you don't have to worry about the ups and downs of the market, because your money is always safe in an annuity. Plus, you're guaranteed an income stream for the rest of your life in your retirement. That's a great thing. And, there's a couple of things about annuities you want to ask Joe Thomas about that I think are amazing. First off, he's got multiple annuities that have a signing bonus. One's 10%. You make 10% off your money before you get back in your car. leaving his office. There's another annuity, you get even a larger bonus. I call it a signing bonus. You get a bonus right there before you leave the office. How long would it take you to earn 10% on your money in the market if everything went perfect, which it never does? A year, year and a half? You'll make 10% on your money right there on day one before you get back to your car. There's also this income doubler due to medical issues. Ask him about that. If you or your spouse have a health issue, disability comes in, that's when life gets really expensive for everyone, retired or not. Your revenue from the annuity will be doubled every month. It's pretty amazing. And there's all kinds of other benefits too. Call Joe Thomas. He's offering free consultations, which you can take advantage of no matter where you're located. If you're local, you can go to his office and do it. But if you're around the country, you can do it over the phone, a no-charge consultation. And Joe Thomas will put together a custom proposal based on that consultation with you that is unique to you and your situation and your goals and your needs. Give him a call, 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. And online, JupiterJoe.com. We'll be right back. Looking for my commercial copy. Here we are. We'll be back in a couple minutes, guys. Stand by. I'm going to get into this Elon Musk story when we get back, and then I'll recap the Hannity story after the top, because I think that's just nuts. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, and if you're already subscribed, do me the favor of liking the video if you don't mind, and sharing on your socials. That helps a lot too. And if you want to call in, the toll-free number is pinned in the live chat. Just over a minute, we'll be back. If you're on hold, hang in there. Welcome, everyone. Renee from Harlem didn't want to hear all that. I mean, if this country was the racist country that he and Joy Reid believes, why do I do so many shows a day? I do at least 2, sometimes 3 or 4, right? I do my podcast. If it was the country that they tell us it is, I would just do 1 show, and that's it. But, you got to work hard to make it. I'm on the air probably more than anyone, pretty much. All the streams and podcasts I do, the show in the morning, on top of it. All right, about 30 seconds. All right, we're back. I'm Brian. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. So we'll be back on track schedule-wise in the next hour. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. It's Ben from Pompano.
Hey, Ben. What's up?
Hey, so I was listening. I heard earlier, I don't know what you were talking about just before the break, but before that, I heard that crazy crackpot from California call in and argue about history, it's about facts, blah, 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 blah. So he has never listened. He comes across to me as someone who has never actually listened to his, the opposing side. He doesn't understand critical race theory, diversity, equity, inclusion, doctrine, and postmodernism is not history. Saying that whiteness is, creates detrimental things such as showing up on time, work ethic, things of that nature, that is not history. That is what's being removed from the museums. The museums, like I went to the Philadelphia Museum. My girlfriend was up there, and we went to the museum at the Liberty Bell. Every single exhibit was identity politics. And it was talking about, the Liberty Bell represents equality for all and the independence. Every single exhibit talked about how gays didn't have equality, blacks didn't have equality, Hispanics didn't have equality, Chinese didn't have equality. The entire subtext of the exhibit was America sucks. America has been nothing but a colonial, racist.
Black men had the vote 50 years before women in this country who were white. Okay. The thing about it, what Trump's talking about with this, American history is written by liberals. The college professors write most of the history, okay, that's in the books. That's just how it is. And they write it from a negative perspective. It's what America has done wrong to people, not the positives that have come out of it. And that doesn't mean we want to cover up slavery, but slavery was one part of this country and not nearly as important to the settlements as they want you to believe.
Right. They want to make it a central focal point, just like the 1619 Project tried to establish. And the reason for doing that is the same reason anti-Semites continually talk about all the bad Jews. If you talk about Bernie Madoff, if you talk about Jeffrey Epstein, if you talk about Harvey Weinstein, you're going to walk away thinking that Jews are terrible people.
Exactly.
Same thing with
the Rosenbergs. Same thing with America. Yeah, the Rosenbergs. Well,
right. You talk about slavery, you talk about all this bad stuff, and you talk about nothing good we've done, which we are the most successful multi-ethnic nation that has ever existed. Yeah, you're going to think we're racist and terrible.
That's right.
That's what that moron didn't understand.
Here in the studio, I make a little stand for the phone so it's a little higher. And what I use to prop up my phone is Stephen A. Ambrose's Undaunted Courage, which is his book about Lewis and Clark and their expedition. The slaves didn't didn't cross America and go, to the Pacific Ocean and back and let President Jefferson know what he bought, with the Louisiana Purchase. I mean, slavery is a part of American history, but it's not as big of a part as they want you to believe. It's a small part,
right?
Really.
And exactly. And it's like I grew up in the 90s, 2000s. There wasn't a dearth of historical lessons on slavery. We all knew what it was. It just wasn't a central focal point. And what that guy who's so obsessed about, who thinks he's such a historical scholar, missed is he doesn't know the history of Herbert Marcuse and the reformation of the education system, which essentially the Marxists came to this country and saw how good everyone had it in the working class, and they were never going to have a revolution with everyone having. So what they did is instead of making Marxism about class, they made it about what Herbert Marcuse referred to as the ghetto population. So they just shifted it to racism, homophobia, feminism.
That's right.
And what this translates to into liberals writing these books is that's the only thing they talk about. So when I go to the Liberty Bell in Philadelphia or the Smithsonian in D.C. or a history book in my college, it all frames it in a way that makes you think America
That's right.
is trash.
And I was talking about this last week. The PBS has this new Burns documentary on the American Revolution. I've not seen it yet. It's getting a lot of. I'm telling you, we're going to learn how immigrants won the American Revolution. I'm telling you. You think I'm not kidding? I'm expecting. I'm going to watch it.
No,
I watch all the Ken Burns stuff. But watch his documentary on Prohibition, and the one on Vietnam. It'll blow your mind. But yeah, you're right. You know,
the Jazz one, the baseball,
yeah,
was great.
They're all great. Liberals teach history from a negative viewpoint of this country. All negative.
Right. And what is he talking about? It's only the victors write history. It's like, okay, yeah, Americans are the victors, but the liberals took over the institutions and are now writing history. So if you want to say the liberals conquested our institutions, you're right.
Like we all know Joe McCarthy was right, but the history books tell us he was some crazy tyrant bigot who was a lunatic.
Oh,
right?
It took me years.
Exactly.
It took me years to realize.
I'm out of time. I got a break, but I appreciate the call. And they teach you that Nixon was a crook. He wasn't. We'll be right back. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll be back in less than a minute. Hour number 3 has begun. My name is Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. I'll take a call or two, and then I've got some other stories I want to cover. And I do want to recap that insane event in the Oval Office with Sean Hannity as well, because it was nuts what Hannity did in the Oval Office. We'll get back to that, too. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning, Brian. This is Richie.
Oh, hey, Richie. What's on your mind?
You know, I want to address Renee because enough is enough. And I know he's still listening to the show. You know, he has tendency of blaming people, but he never has a solution for anything. He never takes what would you call that? What I'm trying to say is, if he sees something going wrong in his neighborhood, it's the white guy's fault. There's no solutions.
Well, you know what? Listen. If those taking it away from Renee and blacks, Jerry Seinfeld, right? You know the Seinfeld. There was a recurring character in Seinfeld who was Jerry's uncle. I want to say, was it Louis? What was Jerry Seinfeld's uncle? And he was in a bunch of episodes, and everything was anti-Semitic. They'd go to the store and wait in line 5 minutes. Oh, they're anti-Semitic, you know, and it was a running gag in Seinfeld in many episodes. I want to say Uncle Louie, but if that's not his name, guys, let me know. There's a lot of, you know, Renee is Uncle Leo, yeah, in Seinfeld. Go watch the Uncle Leo episodes of Seinfeld, and you'll understand. Renee is a guy who doesn't have the success that he thinks he's entitled to. So as opposed to saying I'm a mediocre talent, or I'm just lazy and don't want to leave my place in Harlem and go out into the world, it's because I'm black. Well, if you're black and you can't make it in Harlem as a musician, you must really suck. Because isn't that supposed to be the heart of black music is Harlem? And Uncle Leo, and you know, and it's enough.
Yeah, I'd like to ask him a question. If he ever calls you back, which he'll probably call you back tomorrow. Renee, why is it that every major big city in this country, except for maybe Portland, because it's Antifa and there are a lot of whites in there, all of the inner city shootings and problems like Chicago, New York, Detroit, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., thank you, President Trump, for stopping it, they're killing each other in the streets, the teenagers. They're all packing weapons, and it's just disgusting. And Renee is going to blame the white guy for this. Yeah. Why don't you take the responsibility? And that's the word that I wanted to say. Take the responsibility for your own actions as a race. There are a lot of black people that can't stand living like this. And then when they try to get out of it, they're called Uncle Toms. They have to change the culture. The black culture that Renee is talking about is so wonderful.
Well, you know, the thing with Renee, you know, Richie, Renee's like Joy Reid. He hates white people, you know, and they, you know, they hide, but you know, Joy Reid hates white people.
Do you know that I'm a very famous person, Brian? I don't really brag. I never got anywhere in my life because there was one bus driver that did a lot better than me, okay, and that was Ralph Cramden. And I've been, not for nothing, everybody through my whole time driving a bus, you say, oh, you're Ralph Cramden. I mean, you know.
No, so you're a lot of people don't, you know, listen, when you're in South Florida, so I have met really famous people that listen to this show. And absolutely. And I mean, really famous people. And there was, I did a personal appearance once, and someone from one of the most famous musical groups in history came to meet me and Steve, and I said, I should be coming to see you. I couldn't believe. But Richie the bus driver is he's very well known and very famous. Richie the bus driver is the bus driver who called the police on Rosa Parks. A lot of people don't know that, but he's very well. He's got a place in the history books.
Yeah, you know, talk about that. You know, you talk about how we bent over backwards to treat black people in this country and it's not racist. Rosa Parks' birthday, they literally took pictures of her and put them on the seat in the bus. Nobody considered that seat, even if it was an old lady.
Well, let me tell you. Okay, I brought up Rosa Parks. By the way, the whole story was true except the Richie part. You guys, you may have noticed if you're a regular listener, I reference Rosa Parks a lot, and it's because I got a lot of respect for Rosa Parks. I mean, I idolize her. But Rosa Parks in her later years, you know, she got mugged in front of her house by 2 black youth. You know, and I'm thinking, first off, everybody on the street had to know who lived there, that it was the great Rosa Parks. And when she got robbed by these 2 youth, it didn't even hardly make the news. You know, I mean, what's going on in D.C. is in spite of the liberal opposition. You know, the people that are complaining about the federal intervention in D.C., I don't hear the local black residents complain. I see a bunch of white liberals complaining.
Did you see what happened in Boynton Beach on the news? You had to have seen that.
Which story?
When they had that, it was about 3 weeks ago. It was in July where they had. It was a Saturday. In other words, it was a community of black ministers that were trying to throw the thugs out. Let's get our streets back. And all of a sudden, they jumped out of cars and started spraying bullets all over the place.
No, I didn't see that.
And it was on. It's on YouTube.
Did you know Governor DeSantis? You mentioned Boynton Beach. I'm glad there's something else going on in Boynton Beach. Governor DeSantis, I'm so mad at him for betraying us, for betraying President Trump and MAGA. because he is such a great Republican governor.
He's great.
In Boynton Beach, they have painted a gay rainbow mural in the middle of the street at a intersection. And that it's in that historic area that looks like Las Olas Boulevard in Boynton Beach. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know.
And the state of Florida has a law against that, and they got 2 other cities to remove it. One of them was West Palm Beach, and they told this. And Governor DeSantis's Department of Transportation has said, if you don't remove it, we're going to remove it and send a bill to the city for doing it. And we've got such a great governor in Ron DeSantis, and he has that one screw up. And it's a big screw up because, can we trust him to be president? I don't know. I wish he would correct it.
He's going to be the vice president. You watch. He might not want to take second fiddle. He's going to be the vice president candidate. Watch.
He's got to go to President Trump and beg for forgiveness. Be like Johnny Fontaine in The Godfather. Kiss the ring, please, Godfather, please forgive. He's got to.
By the way, Sean Hannity, you brought up. I got to say this to you. You brought up Sean Hannity being an egomaniac. I'm going to say something. There are times, maybe Judge Jeanine was taken back by that. You think that was a terrible thing. But you know how I know he's not all these terrible things and the crazy person and all that? Because he's very close to President Trump and he's trusted by President Trump. And I trust President Trump's opinion on character. He loves Sean. And the fact of the matter is he loves Janine too. Maybe this was an internal friction between the two of them at the time.
Well, okay, let me share this with I shared this earlier in the show, but since you mentioned, let me bring it up now while you're on the line. Judge Janine's in a court case, okay, and there's been some discovery, and part of the discovery was her text messages. And the Washington Post printed a text message that Judge Jeanine wrote October 27th, 2020. She texted to a friend about what happened in the Oval Office that day. She was in the Oval Office with President Trump on his first term. This article, this was written about in the Washington Post, and it's this version I'm reading is in Mediaite, okay? According to, and I'm reading from the article here, according to another previously unpublished text message, Judge Jeanine referred to Fox News host Sean Hannity as an egomaniac. Recalling an Oval Office meeting with Trump, Judge Jeanine wrote in an October 27, 2020 text message to a friend this: Hannity stormed in to the Oval Office like he owns the place, throws his papers on the president's desk and says, "You don't mind if I use your private bathroom?" He walks into the bathroom within the Oval Office and uses it. Looks at me and says, "I gotta talk to him." And then Judge Jeanine ended the text by saying, "It's all about him, period. No one else matters."
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But the thing is,
you don't think that sounds crazy?
Yeah, and well, obviously the president didn't think so, and the president stayed friends with him probably. And not just that. There was somebody on Fox when she was suspended. Somebody, a boss said that she's as crazy as a fruitcake. Do I believe that? No. They said that. So, I mean, these things are said. You know that she was called crazy because Adam Schiff brought that up.
Come on. I believe this happened. It's possible that President Trump is just using his influence and knows that he's a jerk.
Maybe. Or maybe he thinks he's a wonderful person and
maybe he does.
100%.
Maybe he does.
Who knows? We don't know, but I know that it didn't look good. What you just read, I agree with you on that. It's kind of nuts.
That's nuts.
At the same time, maybe he had something so important to tell him that Trump said, "Thank you, thank you, thank you." Sometimes.
That he forgot it. Well, the whole thing, throwing his papers on the desk, like he owns the joint, and then without even getting the okay, using the president's private bathroom in the Oval Office, that was a pathetically insecure man who's an egomaniac and who's completely. If I pulled something like that, or anybody, my wife would have me committed. That's insane behavior. That's an out of control person.
That's funny. That's funny.
It's I'm not kidding.
Listen, I and as for Barry Cunningham, and he's a black.
He's good. He's very good. I know he's very good.
He is so excellent, and the fact that his wife is the one that's producing and getting all these guests for him, he gets these guests to his wife. He's
very good, and we don't know each other. We know of each other, and I know somebody was talking about me on his program recently. I'd heard, and
you guys got to get together because you think the same way.
And we live in the same neighborhood. We live in the same neighborhood.
You ought to get on his. You ought to get on his show, and he ought to get on your show as well.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, absolutely. I want to be on his show first because I want to. But anyway, I appreciate the call, Richie. All right, now if you're on hold, I would like to hear what you guys think about this thing with Hannity, because I think that is, and I believe Judge Jeanine, that's crazy to me. That is a crazy person who did that, in my opinion. If you're on hold, stand by. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. I want to talk about Coastal Weight Loss Secret. Did any of you guys catch me on TV over the weekend? I've been on TV several times in the last few weeks, and, it's amazing when you're on television, at least in my case, I start hearing from people I haven't heard from sometimes in years. And I'll get DMs or text messages from people. And I hear two things from everyone. One, Brian, you've lost a lot of weight. And the other one I hear is, you look so much younger. And from regular listeners I've heard from, when they see me on television and they hear me on the radio or something, they say, wow, you do have a square jaw now. You do have definition back in your face. Your face isn't round anymore. Someone told me yesterday I need to buy new reading. I wear reading glasses when I'm reading here on the air. They said I need to buy smaller reading glasses, that my reading glasses are from my fatter face, and the ones I have now are too big. And to get positive comments about physical appearance from an audience is unheard of, because people usually share negative. And now I probably will get this now because I'm saying it. I haven't heard one negative comment from a person in this audience since my weight loss. It's all been very positive and complimentary, and it's because it works. You can't deny it. Coastal Weight Loss Secret works. I'm a walking, living example of it. Give them a call. They can help you no matter where you are in the United States. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlossecret.com. We'll be right back. Hey, Barry, hold on. About a minute, we'll be back. All right, and we are back. I'm Brian. It's time to check in with Attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group. Attorney Barry Siegel, good morning.
Good morning, Brian. How's it going today?
I'm doing great. What do you have for us today?
Today, just like yesterday, we talked about Medicaid planning, and Medicaid planning is really your secret way, I don't want to say secret, but your special way that you could potentially avoid the long-term care problem that many of us may end up having if we don't plan ahead, and that is not having a way to pay for care other than spending our own money and paying our own money down until potentially being broke. And so one of the things that offer is a free long-term care analysis where we will be able to go over your situation, either you or you and your spouse, and kind of see where you are, see if there's anything you need to do to get yourself in a position where if you ever do need to qualify, make it so that you can. And the other thing I wanted to point out is we've been doing these Medicaid seminars lately, and we've been getting a great response to those. We have one coming up next Tuesday at our Siegel Law Group office in Boca Raton on Military Trail and Butts Road. And it's going to be at 5:30 p.m.
Oh.
We're moving them around at different times so people from all walks of life that need to come. A lot of times for the Medicaid, it's the adult children that are coming, and sometimes they need to work. They work, or so we've been moving it to weekends, after hours, during the day. And so this one's going to be at 5:30 for those of you who work and may have an issue with a spouse or a loved one, a parent, a grandparent who's on the verge of needing care or just wants to make sure they have a plan in place. This is a good opportunity for you to come and learn what you need to know.
Yeah, and that Medicaid workshop is amazing, and it is very common for adult children and probably even on occasion grandchildren to come instead of mom, dad, or with mom, dad, or with grandma and grandpa. And we don't have time to get into it today, but one morning, Barry, because you haven't talked to the radio audience about this in a while, before you were a big fancy estate planning lawyer with the Siegel Law Group and you were younger, you were drawn to this field of law because you had an issue with your own grandmother who and things weren't properly set up and it caused some issues for the family.
Yeah, and so because of a personal issue that happened in my family, later on when I became an attorney and learned that there was this area of practice called elder law and this planning that could have been done. It could have saved my grandmother from spending down her assets and having to worry about being a burden on the family and all of that. So when I learned that was available, first of all, we were upset because we got the wrong advice from the nursing home at the time. The family did. But that's part of one of the main reasons why I went into this field.
Yeah.
We want to make sure other people are prepared and don't have to go through that.
Yeah, the nursing, and I'll tell and this is just from my own personal experience of knowing people. The nursing home will give you advice that leaves you and everyone broke, and then they'll try to find some other way to squeeze money out of you. I mean, they're not you want to call the Siegel Law Group, not your nursing home.
Yeah, and just to be fair, there are a lot of nursing homes out there that are going to give you the right information and advise you to seek out an elder law attorney. But there are some that are going to try to squeeze every penny out of you.
Absolutely.
And make sure that you're private pay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Listen, the Siegel Law Group offers no charge in-office consultations. Give them a call. And I know this, you're going to get incredible advice. And if you can go to that workshop, go. It will blow your mind at how this Medicaid planning works and how you and your family can benefit from it. And you also get an opportunity to meet Attorney Barry Siegel and his entire staff, which I think is a big thing, Barry, because people are putting so much into your hands and the hands of your law firm. And I think when you see the detail that Attorney Barry Siegel and the Siegel Law Group put into these things, you're going to be blown away by the detail and very, very impressed. Here's the number, 855-FLA-3782, 855-FLA-3782, and online, SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, Attorney Barry Siegel, we'll talk later in the week.
All right, great. Thanks, Brian.
All right, take care. All right, back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brother Brian. How are you?
Oh, hey, what's up? Hold on one second here. Hold on. I got all my lines mixed up. Okay, go ahead.
I did what Ricky says about Renee from Harlem. He's never going to learn, okay? Start with John Brown. It's a Western movie, John Brown, the abolitionist, how they helped free the blacks, and understand how John Brown, a white man, been hung to help.
That's true.
Black
That's
people get out
true.
of
You know,
slavery.
listen, they don't teach about John Brown anymore, but here's the thing. Renee's a musician, and he believes that racism has stopped him from being successful. He's in Harlem. If you want to be a country singer, you go to Nashville. If you want to be a black musician, you go to Harlem. If you're a black musician and you can't make it in Harlem, it's not because of the white man, okay? It's because you suck. Because you could just go out on the sidewalk and start playing and get discovered. Maybe Spike Lee will come by.
Exactly, and people do that to even make a living. And he did send you those tapes that sucked, incidentally. Hey, Renee, why don't you ever answer the question? If Officer Tatum, Barry Cunningham, and others have succeeded more than a white man, didn't you guys say that you are born racist as a white person? So then why would a racist company let their platform let black people succeed, but not let the white guys succeed on that platform?
Exactly.
It's called YouTube. One other thing here is Miss New Pimp Racist Joy Reid or Unjoy Reid. I saw that interview yesterday, and that was very, very cunning of Trump to have that.
I mean, I'll give you an example. Okay, you know, with this program, I'll talk a little bit about it. I'll give you a little behind the scenes. We have listeners around the United States, okay, and around the world and throughout the English-speaking world. Most of our listeners are in Florida because Steve and I have been on the air in Florida for so long. Do you know where in the country we have the second most number of listeners that listen live in the mornings? It's not outside of Florida.
New York, right?
New York City.
You said
New York City.
Right, New York.
Most of our listeners are in Florida, okay, because that's where we're based. But when you look through the order of where we're most, where we have the most listeners, but New York City is number 2, and it's right behind Florida. And New York City is the number 1 radio market in America. And for that to be our number 2 city, and it's almost equal to Florida, that when people find this show, they like it and stick with it. So instead of sitting around in some apartment like Renee blaming the man, what I do is I'm always expanding what I do for my reach because I know we're good. And when people find us, they stay. Renee, if I were Renee and I was a musician trying to make it, I'd be out on the sidewalk in Harlem playing all the time. And somebody would hear me. And if I'm that good, I'm going to get a gig. But he obviously sucks.
Perhaps he wasn't accepted at the Apollo and his feelings has been hurt. And Sean Hannity walking into that office, all he had to do, just because he knows Trump for a long time and he thinks he's Trump and he could do something like that is disrespectful to the office, not the person. He should have said, hey, would you guys mind if I have a moment with Trump? And let Trump give the okay, rather than do it in that way. That's just not normal. And Joy Reid, I was wanting to say she's the new Al Sharpton.
So you would say this incident with Hannity in the Oval Office. Do you agree that's insane? That's crazy what he did.
Well, like I said, I believe in his mind. Of course, it's not any. It's no etiquette there.
And who does he think he is to go? Why did he have and using the president's private toilet? What the heck?
Yeah, he's taking that friendship too far, and Trump, knowing the guy so long and being the good guy that he is, trying to stop wars and all. That's a very minute thing in his daily life. However, it was already in real time. Trump couldn't do anything about that real time. So it falls back to Hannity.
I don't want to get too graphic about this, but when Hannity used do you think it made him feel more important when he used the president's personal toilet in the Oval Office?
He thinks he got it like that, and that shows arrogance. Even if he wasn't aware of himself, that shows arrogance.
It does. And disrespect and craziness. All right, take care. Appreciate the call. It was totally, to me, it's insane. Oh man. Hold on a second here. I got so behind on the breaks in the first hour. Let me before we break. Let me see where I have to go here spot wise. Okay, we're fine. We'll take our break and be right back. If you're on hold, stand by, guys. I want to tell you all that if you are 65 years of age or older, you're a Medicare recipient, call Chapter. You know, Chapter can help you with your Medicare no matter what state you are in. They cover all 50 states. Their help is 100% free. Call them, 100% free. Call them. The number's on the screen. It's also in the description of the video. 805-754-3033. 805-754-3033. When you call that number, you're going to get a real live person on the phone, and they're going to help you with your Medicare. They'll answer all your questions. It's completely free. No strings, no catches, no nothing. Completely free. And because they're in all 50 states, no matter where you are, they can help you. There's over 24,000 Medicare policies, and because they're nationwide, they have access to all of them. The average Chapter customer saves over $1,100 a year. That's amazing. So make sure that you're not paying too much, and make sure that you're getting all the Medicare benefits that you are entitled to. Call Chapter, 805-754-3033. 805-754-3033. All right? Oh, man, you'll be glad you did. And thanks for doing that, by the way. Yeah, you get a real person, and they'll go over your entire policy with you. I'll go to the phones when we get back. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. If you're on hold, hang in there. About 30 seconds, we'll be back. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. And, of course, you're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. All right, let's go back to our phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yeah, what's up? You called me. What's on your mind?
Yeah. Man, I've been listening to you loud all morning. You just like Trump. Both of y'all just lie.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm just like Trump. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What a compliment.
He started out lying big time, you know. And you've been lying about slavery. Everything you said was a lie.
Well, pick the biggest lie I've told today, and share the biggest lie I've told today, and we'll talk about it. How about that?
Weak. Okay, but you talked about slavery. We came here in chains, man.
What?
So how we came here in chains? In chains?
You came here in chains? What were you want to? You?
I said, black man. The black man came here in chains.
The black man.
And it's been.
But you didn't.
And every man that tried to free the slaves got killed.
Okay.
Everyone.
Okay. Now let's slow down. Slow down.
Martin Luther King.
Yeah. Let's slow down for a second. You and me, the two of us, right? We were both born in a post-slavery period. Which of us do you believe has benefited from slavery in America the most? You or me?
Oh, black people been enslaved. They've been in chains.
No. You're not in chains now. You're not calling me from the county jail. You're a free man, right? Slavery.
Right.
I'm asking about you and me in 2025. Which one of us benefited from slavery more? You're free. You're not in bondage.
But I may not be in chains now, but I'm still in bondage.
You're avoiding the white man. You're avoiding the question because you know.
The black man went for a job.
Yeah.
The white man will get it.
Really?
Not the black.
Really? So who has benefited more from slavery, you or me, in 2025 America?
You.
Really?
The white man.
How?
Yeah.
I'm not the white man. I am a white man. I am not the white man.
Our ancestors died from, blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah.
There's times we were burnt alive.
Yep.
We were thrown in hot water and boiled.
No, those were. Let me tell you something. Those were terrible things. I recently, a couple months ago, I got a copy of the biography of Harriet Tubman, and I couldn't read it because it was so horrific what those Democrat slave owners did to the slaves. I couldn't read the book, and I'm a big admirer of the great Harriet Tubman, who, by the way, was a Republican. But here's the thing. Between the two of us, you have benefited from slavery more than I have in the United States. You have benefited more than I have. And the reason that is because if it were not for slavery, you wouldn't be here. I still would.
The thing is my people came over here and traded.
Yeah, but you wouldn't. But if your people were not, if your ancestors were not slaves in America, you wouldn't be in this great country today.
Special privilege.
Special what?
Got special privilege. It's in the Constitution.
Privilege? What's you mean?
That every white man. If you look up the Constitution, it talks about every white man having special privilege.
Now special privilege?
Black people, we didn't get special.
What? Okay. Hold on a second. Okay, so I'm talking about 2025. That's the year we live in right now, right? What special privilege? Okay, as a white man.
Come on, man. Are you serious?
Yeah, I am. What special privilege do I have that you do not in 2025?
They get nice cars, they get nice homes, they get nice houses, and
what? You can't get a nice car or a nice house?
Black people, and you know what? When white people see a man with a nice car, he look at him and frown up.
Wait a second. No. I didn't ask you. Hold on a second. Let me ask the question in a different way. What can I do that you can't in 2025 because I'm white and you're black? What can I do that you can't?
Man, please.
Tell me.
A lot.
Well, pick something.
Trust me.
Like what? What can I do that you can't?
Jobs. You get better jobs. You know what I mean? You get more money.
More money?
Because of the color of your skin. Yeah, I can go for the same job and they will pay you more because you're white.
Really?
You know what I'm saying?
Really?
And pay me less because I'm black.
So I make more money. I make more money than black people that do what I do?
Because of the color of your skin.
No, I'm asking you. You think that I make more money than black people? I was talking earlier.
Because of the color of your skin.
Earlier, I was talking about Barry Cunningham. He's a black conservative commentator. He's like me, but he's black. He's a millionaire many times over. Okay, I'm nowhere near as rich as he is. Why is he wealthier than me?
You picking out one black man, that they allow to succeed.
That they allow?
Because the thing is, if they didn't like him, they wouldn't allow him to succeed because of the color of his skin. But the thing is that race
what about Don Lemon? Don Lemon from CNN. When they fired him at CNN, they gave him.
You know he's mixed.
He's a multi-millionaire. Right? He's a multi-millionaire. He's worth millions of dollars.
You know he's mixed, right?
Oh, so that's why he's rich.
A lot of people.
Joy, Joy Reid's a millionaire. Joy Reid's a millionaire. Joy Reid is a millionaire.
White people had
Joy Reid's a millionaire.
Black kids that were mixed, they gave favor to.
Okay. What about Joy Reid? What about Joy Reid?
Well, the thing is, they don't like her.
She's a millionaire.
They don't like her at all.
She's a millionaire.
They don't like her at all.
But she's a millionaire. She's a millionaire.
Yeah,
what about Michelle Obama? Michelle Obama's a millionaire.
But why you're just picking out 5 people, out of a whole nation?
You say that white people have more money than black people, and I'm telling you, there's a lot of rich black people. Look at P. Diddy.
Yeah, but the thing is, a lot of them got it through rapping. A lot of them got it through certain things that they were doing.
Yeah.
Because what?
See, I got news for you. I got news for you. You're not a loser because you're black. You're just a bum.
No. That doesn't make me a bum because I'm black.
No, I didn't say because you're black. I said you're a loser, and it has nothing to do with you being black.
You're just
as opposed to you saying to yourself, "I'm not successful because I'm a bum." You want to say it's racism.
Listen, Trump is racist. Okay. Trump don't like white people.
No. You are racist. You are racist.
I got white friends.
Oh, you got white friends. Okay. You got white friends. Okay, well, that settles it. Oh, my goodness. You're on the air. I doubt he has any friends. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. It's JJ from Mass.
Hey, JJ.
A lot of delusion, liberal professors' results being shown today.
Absolutely.
Outrage syndrome. I mean, look, this to me is sort of it's just a continuation of communism, Democrat Party, into the history, into our school systems, and we create people like you create a Kamala.
By the way, a friend of mine just texted me that Stephen A. Smith is worth $100 million. I'm in shock.
I think
holy
most
smokes.
people would classify that as successful, but everything about them. They lie. I mean, Kamala lies about being black. Pocahontas lies about being an Indian. Pelosi cheats with the stock trading. Adam Schiff cheats on the mortgages. We've got the auto pen Decepticon. These icons, Joey Big Toe. We've got these icons of virtue. They teach this false history as a strategy for division and chaos, because that's the only way they get ahead is by getting, when somebody like Renee or this last caller bump into somebody like you or somebody like me, it's like a hot and a cold front. It's the lie coming into meets the truth, and that's what they want. That's what the Democrats and the communists. That's what they need. Now, I mean, I look at like music. I was a trumpet player. I had a record label, several production companies. I know music better than most people. Okay, certainly. Just because I did it, I was there, boots on the ground. And, blacks didn't invent music, whites didn't invent music. God invented music, okay, through everyone. It happened everywhere. You look at the archaeology.
Well, okay, so you got a music background. So Renee from Harlem, who's a musician, blames the white man for not being a successful black musician in Harlem. I mean, if there's someone who's a talented musician of any kind who's black, if they go out on the street and start doing street performances and put it up on YouTube, they'll be famous and rich at some point, right? If they're talented.
Yes, it's hard work, and everybody.
Well, there you go. You got to have talent and hard work.
Sometimes the overnight success happens, but it's 14 or 15 or 20 years later after you've been.
Yeah.
The overnight success doesn't happen. It happens after 10 or 20 or 30.
Believe me, I know that. You don't think I know that?
For the most part.
Believe me, I know that.
But you've got, yes, I got you. But with Renee more specifically, I mean, his area of music, it's not like Elvis was the king, okay? He was the king, is the king, but he was the king because he was commercially successful. He was good-looking.
You have to be, listen, when I first started in this business and broadcasting, and there were people that I modeled, that I wanted to be like, what I knew right away is you had to be commercially viable to make it, which I am now, you know, and I do okay, but you know, a lot of people, Renee's just no talent. I've heard his music.
Well,
it's really bad.
Well, I know you listen to it.
It was really bad. It was really bad. I mean, I hate to say that because when people are entertainers, I want to support them, but that's not entertainment. That's noise.
Well, I look at Renee a little differently. I think he is he's a very good musician, but he's basically in a non-viable commercial area.
Yes.
This improv, and he's not a very likable guy. I mean, maybe he's different when he's, you know, he went to try to get a deal from, I remember him talking about this, and he didn't get the deal. And he didn't get the deal, not because he's not talented, because I do believe, I've listened to his music, but my musical tastes go from like Vladimir Horowitz, the #1 pianist of all time.
Really? Tell me about. Maybe I got him wrong. Tell me about Renee from Harlem's music, because you say it's good. I'll retract what I said.
It's improv. It's the Afro. I mean, you know, like listen, Brian. Like you, I'll give you an example for you specifically. Ozzy Osbourne just passed away.
That's right.
And you like that's not my type of music.
No.
Well, here's the thing. You hear the music. But you don't hear the lyric. Like after the show, after 9 o'clock, it's 15 or 20 minutes, whatever left. You know, just take a couple minutes and pull up the lyrics to the song "Crazy Train."
Yeah.
And read the lyrics. And then when you hear the music, it gives you one thing in your mind. But the lyrics, that song is about the Cold War. It's an anti-war song.
Yeah.
It's like the.
Yeah, but tell me about. You say
American
Renee's
Woman.
got talent. Tell me about Renee's music.
Well, he's in an area that is very complicated. People listen to pop music. Like my example of Ozzy was that that's not your type of music. You hear the sound, but you don't relate to that sound. You relate to what you relate to. In Renee's area of music, when you get into improv, when you get into people like Satchmo, Louis Prima, Miles Davis with the
Yeah.
I mean, like Herbie Hancock. I think Herbie Hancock is.
And
one
Renee
of,
from you put Renee from Harlem in there with Herbie Hancock?
No. Those are his influences.
Oh.
His music is like it's Afrocentric improv, jazz, but it's not like a typical jazz. For somebody to hear that music and try to relate to it, it's like
okay.
a golf
So
player
he
trying to
has
play
musical
football.
talent, but there's no audience for it.
Correct.
Oh,
Correct.
You're great. You're great, man. You were most definitely.
I would never sign him because he's not.
Let me tell
commercially
you,
viable.
you were so in the entertainment. Like my influences, of course, Steve Kane is a big influence. But Howard Stern. If you noticed, I haven't spent too much time trashing on Howard Stern. I don't like his politics, but I respect his talent and his ability. If he put every morning show in these markets out of business, okay, when he was doing mornings and radio, and why is
that, Brian? Because you know how difficult.
Because he's a great
right?
talent. He's a great talent, and I respect that. He's so you don't hear me jumping on this Stern train that a lot of people are, because I respect his talent, and I can tell you're really in the business because. You think that Renee from Harlem's a great talent? There's just no audience for it, and that's
music.
Yeah, I'm late for the break. I am so late for the break.
I got you.
Okay, and speaking of commercially viable, we'll be right back. Hey there, it's Brian. Hold on. We got about 30 seconds, guys. All right, and it's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated with the Morning Gold and Precious Metals Report. William Youngerman, how are the metals looking today?
Metals looking, again, solid in our trading range as we lost $17 yesterday, but we are up $26 today, so go figure. The market continues to hold these wonderful levels of over $3,300 on gold. Yesterday, trading in a range of $3,313 on the low to $3,345 on the high, closing out the day at $3,314, which was down $17.10. Silver was down 65 cents at $37.29, while platinum lost $21 at $1,308, and palladium was down $4 at $1,109 the ounce. So like I said, overnight, we've traded in a range of $3,310 all the way up to $3,343, and right now we're at $3,340 the ounce. That's up $26. Certainly gaining back all the $17 we lost yesterday and plus another $10. So the market's still holding nicely above $3,300 gold. Silver up 20 cents right now at $37.50 the ounce. Platinum up $22 at $1,330, and palladium up $7 at $1,116 the ounce. So that's pretty much where we are, but the markets are doing very well, holding and giving us very short pullbacks to take advantage of.
Yeah, I mean, this is those of you that are new to the metals, man. What an exciting time to be new in the metals. But it's also for those that have been in the metals for years and years. I know everybody, William, and you meet more than I do. But everybody that I meet that's in the metals, they're so excited right now. This is like. I don't know how to describe this period, but it's a great time, and it's absolutely amazing. William Youngerman opens up at 10 a.m. You can stop in. His address is 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. You can give him a call, toll-free, 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010, and find both his address and phone number online at williamyoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we'll touch base tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day.
All right, take care. Before I go back to the phones, I want to talk about Jupiter Joe Thomas for a moment. You know, you've heard me talk with him many times about how great annuities are and what they offer. And you hear me mention that he offers a no-charge consultation, which you can take advantage of no matter where you are in the United States. And I just want to share with you, I don't do this enough, is share with you the value of that no-charge consultation with Joe Thomas. Now, first off, he has over 30 years of experience in the retirement planning business, okay? But listen to this. Joe Thomas is a 5-time qualifying member of the $1 Million Roundtable, which is achieved by less than 1% of all financial advisors in the world. That says it all right there. So you're getting a no-charge consultation with a top man in the industry. That is something. The value on that alone, I don't know if I could put a dollar amount on it, but there's a lot of value in that free consultation. And after that, Joe Thomas is going to put together a custom proposal just for you based on your situation, your budget, and where you are and where you want to be. Give him a call. It's 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. And if you missed the number, just go to his website. It's easy to remember, jupiterjoe.com. jupiterjoe.com. All right, to the phones we go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian from Deerfield.
Hey, Brian, what's up?
Hey, Brian, how are you today?
Hi.
You know, Brian, if they want to talk about racism, they should bring out a case of reverse racism, where affirmative action and DEI actually legalize racism against a group of people in this country. It should actually be unconstitutional. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people hurt very badly by this. Now, Trump's trying to bring back the meritocracy back again, where the merit-based, the best person gets the job in that. But we've had decades and decades where it was legalized to be racist, especially against white young people coming up. I think especially white males.
Well, as opposed to being generic, I want to get specific. This whole controversy over Sydney Sweeney is because the left are upset that there's a white girl doing a television campaign and she's not black.
Sure.
That's the whole thing. Or trans, okay, like this, you know. And that's what it is. They've decided that white people shouldn't be spokesmodels on television ads anymore.
Well, it's disgraceful, and we've seen they really, I'm hoping this argument about this whole racist thing begins to dissipate and go away a little bit, because this has done so much damage to this country. And it's really unfortunate. But we've had a lot of reverse racism in this country for a lot of years now. It goes back to the 60s and that.
Mm-hmm.
And that should be addressed too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe the people that suffered from reverse discrimination should get reparations.
And, Joy Reid, I give an example with Joy Reid. She got canned by MSNBC at the right time, because they're gonna fade away. This MS Now thing's not going to make it. It's going to turn into either it's going to be sold off by the parent company after this merger, or it'll morph into a cooking channel or something. And Joy Reid, she's got a lot of, she's a racist. Let's face it. I mean, she's a racist, but she has a platform. I was talking to a caller earlier today about this. Did you see the president playing the music at the White House yesterday?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yes, I
President Trump, he redid the Rose Garden. Liberals don't like it because they don't like anything he does. And he put in an outdoor sound system. And he was blasting music at the outdoor sound system. And he was blasting Elvis Presley like no one's business yesterday. And the entire reason he played, I heard him play Lee Greenwood too, but he was blasting Elvis Presley because he saw what Joy Reid did and said about Elvis Presley. Yeah. So she's got a lot of influence. She influenced the President of the United States to not just play Elvis Presley music, which is amazing, but to do it at full blast outside at the White House in front of the media. So what I'm telling you is, Joy Reid, who's one of the most famous women in America, she's probably one of the 5 or 10 most famous women in America. She has a very large platform where she has gotten the President of the United States of America to play certain music in response to her. So as opposed to doing this white man bad thing, if she put together some real content, as an example, talking about the downfall of MSNBC and what's going on with news, or doing a real show, she reaches people. And for her to sit around with this alienation of the majority of the country, with her hate on whites, she's destroying her ability to have influence and a platform. I couldn't get President Trump to blast my favorite group, Van Halen, 10,000 Maniacs. I probably shouldn't mention the 10,000 Maniacs because I know a lot of you guys don't like that. It's often referred to as rag rock, if you've ever heard of rag rock. But I love Van Halen. There's a lot of music I like. I couldn't get. You think I could get President Trump to blast Jump or 10,000? No, but she did yesterday. So she's got an opportunity that few people have. And she's blowing it, and she's saying she's not where she is because of racism. Didn't she go to Harvard on affirmative action? She went to either Harvard or Yale. I forget which. I don't know if it was affirmative action or not. It was Harvard, but she has got the ability to be the liberals are really hurting for voices. She could be the most popular liberal voice in America today, if she would stop doing this white man bad thing and start talking about real stuff. Well, I'm hoping this argument will eventually disappear. This whole racism thing is it's really counterproductive. We're in a new time now, and anybody who thinks President Trump is a racist is really shouldn't even be on television or radio. There's a problem that's going on, and there's a guy he's on Piers Morgan all the time from Nerdrotic. I don't know if you ever heard of this guy, Nerdrotic. Look him up online. I think so. And he's very smart. Okay. He mostly talks about pop culture, but he's very conservative, and he's very smart and enlightened. Nerdrotic. Okay, you can find him online. Okay. He's on Piers Morgan's show all the time. And he talks a lot about movie and television programs today. And he says the writers, they're doing therapy through television shows. They're doing therapy. They're trying to get their own issues out through television shows and movies, and not for the audience. Joy Reid has a lot of anger. Some white person somewhere did her wrong. I don't know if it was some mean white girl or some guy. Yeah. Somebody white did her wrong, and her whole show is therapy of her trying to get the anger towards this individual that did her wrong at some point in her life, and she's totally in self-destruct mode. Hey, appreciate the call. Got to run. You're on the air. What's your name?
Some white person somewhere did
You're on the air. What's your name?
for some guy.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have to listen to you at the same time while I'm waiting for you on the phone.
Okay. Well, you got me now. 30
well,
seconds. Last call of the day.
30 seconds. Thank
Jay.
God for Joy Reid. And you say we benefited from slavery.
Well, you're here.
Why do you say racist things like that?
If it were not for slavery, Jay, you would not be in New Jersey. You'd be in
white people stole
Africa.
People stole this country. You wouldn't be here either.
No, I'd still be here if slavery didn't exist. Yes.
You white people, you white devils stole this
White
country.
devils. Oh,
You
my
wouldn't be here. So when they say go home, you got to go home too.
Okay, all right. Nobody said go home. I don't know what you're listening to. All right, another one in the can. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. We'll see you tomorrow at 6 a.m. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll be back tomorrow. Take care. Thanks for listening. All right, we're clear. Oh, my goodness. I want to mention this story real quick. I did not get to this on the show today. Very good call, Steve, but I want to mention this before we go. This headline, this is in the Daily Mail, and there's variations of this story in every news outlet in the country today. Elon Musk makes major U-turn after promising to upend U.S. politics with a third party, goes all in on Trump's successor, who they're identifying as J.D. Vance. I might talk about this. This might be the main topic on my podcast today. I'll see. I'm going to talk about this briefly here on the stream. We're no longer on the radio. If you want to call in, you can. I'm going to talk for a few minutes here about this. This story is total BS, what's going on with Elon Musk. Elon and his team of Trump haters have realized something. MAGA voters aren't going anywhere. We love Trump. And to try to form a third party is a losing proposition. So what the never-Trumpers are out of power, right? But they're still around, and they're planning a comeback after Trump's no longer president. Elon Musk is trying to get back in by supporting a MAGA candidate for president after Trump's term is up. You still can't trust them. This is what the never-Trumpers and the Bush Republicans, the neocons, the Republican establishment are going to try to get in by backing a MAGA candidate to be president after Trump. And they're trying to, and if you notice, they're trying to get a dialogue going that Trump's successor, whoever it is, they're talking about J.D. Vance in this article, but they want to put Trump in a position where he's a lame duck. Like, he's a lame duck. He's not relevant anymore. We're behind this guy. And you know, what he's doing is very much like President Trump did. They tried to get President Trump to start a third party. He's like, no, that's a loser proposition. So he took back the Republican Party, right, as opposed to forming a third MAGA party. That's what they're doing. So we got to be very careful with Elon and these others and what they're doing. All right, with that being said, my name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. If you're new, please subscribe. And if you're already subscribed, do me the favor of liking the video and sharing the video on your socials, if you don't mind. Liking the video helps the program find new people. And, of course, if you share on your social, that helps bring new people to the program as well. So if you don't mind doing those things, I would appreciate it. And I'll talk to you next time. Thanks, everyone, for watching.